going to have a Roost Endo festival.
You could actually just wear the same shirt every day with different things taped to it. Nobody would ever know.
People don't believe this, but there's actually show prep that goes into making this happen. So anyways, now we're going to lose half of our viewers because they're like, oh, I'm not going to sit around and listen to this donkey. Take that into consideration. Send your resume in. With nudes, of course.
No little baby shite here, he says.
Okay, send it, bro. I mean, send us the videos so we can play them. I want to see the Killing Hills.
Mean green, team green all day. This is serious business.
Yeah. And he says personally he likes the seat. So everybody likes a paddle on the ass every once in a while. It's like, still, Logan is not here. Although my guest host, Pete Day, looks a little bit like Logan. You're at least as tall as Logan is going to be, or Logan might be taller.
Okay, I don't know Logan. I don't think I know Logan.
He was the kid at the school.
Okay.
When you were here, he was the kid that was here a little bit in the morning, and then they had to go fix their truck. Their truck blew up on the other side of town.
Okay, cool.
That's Logan. Logan was a little kid from around town. He's the first co-host of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. And what's really interesting is that I had him on as a co-host because he didn't talk. He was literally one of those kids that just didn't talk. And I said, what a perfect co-host. and I told him the job of the co-host, the guest, is to when I reach for something to drink, that's when you start talking.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay, that's good to know.
Well, I can usually kind of set it up a little bit. If you haven't watched old episodes of this show, if you want to watch something really funny, go back to like in the 20s. I mean, the first one is ridiculous because I just showed up at a Mexican restaurant, set up a camera, and went live to the world. However that works. Now we're 213 episodes in, and it's almost exactly the same, just completely different. So, Pete, welcome to the show. Pete is from Mosko Moto.
Yep, Mosko Moto. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
And I'm interested to talk to Pete. I want to learn a little bit about his history because we've been bumping into each other at events for a long, long time, and so far back that like we had to remind each other like how long ago it was when we first started bumping into each other, and then. You guys have been shooting some videos and doing some touring around and stuff around in the Pahrump vicinity, correct?
Yep, correct. And we took your class too, which is amazing.
That's right. I took the Jimmy Lewis off-road training. I'm going to list off all of my sponsors here in a second. Everybody's ready for that because that's the important part. This show would not be possible without a lot of our sponsors. But so out here, got his trailer parked out here, and he's here on a Tuesday night. So if you're here on a Tuesday night, guess what? You're coming on the show. So welcome, Pete. Again, episode number 213. This show would not be possible without the continued support of amazing brands like Yamaha, Taco Moto. That's tacomoto.co, Scott Sports, Climb, DDC. DDC was our first sponsor. When I went to the Mexican restaurant, I happened to be talking to Nate on the phone. I said, I'm going to do a podcast. You want to be a sponsor? He said, sure. What does it take? I said, send me a sprocket. I needed a sprocket. That's why I was talking to him on the phone. First sponsor. So DDC chain wheels, Delaney drive components. Of course, Trail Tech, Fasst Company, Bulletproof Designs, and Double Take mirrors. And Double Take mirrors. Do you ever use Double Take mirrors? Oh yeah, always. All my bikes. Yep. I've known. So Ned came to my school like when we very first started. 25 years ago. He was just getting into dirt bikes and came to our school, and then eventually, does all these weird different things. Started the mirror company. He's always supported me, and he supported this video we were going to do that we've never done. And so I just had to put him in as a sponsor of the show. Ned's awesome. He's on a long-term contract with this show until we get that video done. So anyhow, welcome everybody on the Instagrams. You're on the show before the show. So if you want to see how this show really works, you can go on Instagram and follow us. That's at Dirt Bike Test. Everybody's telling me to check my email because they sent in Roost Endos. Well, I'll tell you what, we're bringing it back. We didn't completely cancel it. I put some Roost Endos in the bank because we're going to have a big show at Takamoto. We're going to have a Roost or Endo festival where maybe you can bring your bike and we can judge it there. We'll go through the pictures like we usually do. If you don't know what Roost or Endo is, and I'm going to explain it for Pete here. It's real simple. You send us a nice picture of your bike, and I like a nice picture because I want it to make me, want to go riding. I want a nice picture of your bike, and then you tell us your make and model, which is kind of important because I can't just guess everything. And then you tell us what you did to it, and then we tell you whether that bike roosts or endos. See all the ones up on that board up there?
Yeah.
Well, so if they're on that end, they roost, and that up in the top corner, that's a Husaberg 570. That's my that one roosts. So far, we had to extend the board out, but then it goes all the way back to on this end. You see, there's some 3-wheelers, and there's like street bikes that are being ridden in the dirt, and other bikes for various reasons. There's a lot of really trick KTM's down on that end that they were just bad photos, and they didn't make me feel like they looked like they were in somebody's garage. So
that's Endo.
That's an Endo.
Roost means you love the photo. Endo means you love the bike.
It's you are as valuable in this. Usually we'd have a producer in here and there'd be 3 people and we kind of argue a little bit. But right now it's just me and you, and then we at the end we tell them whether they roost or Endo, and then the one that gives us the most pleasure gets $100 from Takamoto.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a pretty cool deal. Excited to have Takamoto sponsor that, but we're bringing it back. But if you just sent it to me in the last 10 minutes, you were late, and I didn't get it, and it can't be on the show because there's people don't believe this, but there's actually show prep that goes into making this happen. So, anyways, now we're gonna lose half of our viewers because they're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna sit around and listen to this donkey because I'm not gonna be in Endo." So anyhow, welcome everybody. I see. Do I want to increase my engagement from my Facebook group? Well, I don't know. I'm going to push on a button. No, I don't want to do that. That's going to do some other stuff. But if I put this in the chat, which I'm going to do right now, I'm going to put something in the chat. And if you go to that link that just popped up in the chat, you will be more engaged to my show according to our restreaming service. So good on them. Let's see. Yo Mama says Gronk VBS, which he has to remind me what that means every time. He's a Canadian. Canadians are generally pretty happy people, but this guy seems he can get angry every once in a while. So, Pete, tell me how, because I'm getting thirsty. Tell me how Mosko Moto got started and what caused it, where you came from.
Okay, well, the business started, I was on a trip down to Central America. Actually, I was kind of on a trip of indeterminate length. Had left my last gig in manufacturing, and I took off for a couple of months, and I was going to ride down to South America. And I was using soft luggage. I took soft luggage on that trip. I'd already made the kind of transition from the old school, like aluminum boxes over to soft luggage because I wanted to do a lot of the trip off-road. And I had soft luggage, and I was using these bags, and I do a lot of other sports too. And I was kind of wondering why it seemed like the soft luggage was out there for motorsports was just kind of lagging behind what was available for pedal sports and for snow sports, for backcountry skiing, for mountain biking. And I was curious why. And so I started pulling that thread and doing some networking. And there's a company called Dakine. You familiar with Dakine?
Right. Yep. Snowboarding.
Yep. And they do a lot of windsurf stuff too. And they were based in Hood River. And so I kind of networked my way into the design department there and started to dialogue with the head designer, bag designer at Dakine about, what opportunities there might be to bring some of design, like kind of outdoor product design experience and materials into the motorsport space, and why for $500 in motorsports, you left with something that looked like sort of a canoe bag from the 1980s, but $500 in backpacking got you this sick backpack with all kinds of features and hydration and technical fabrics and hardware. And that was really where the original idea for the business came from, was that dialogue as I was traveling, communicating with him back at Dakine. I ended up getting in a horrendous wreck on that trip in the Mosquito Coast, which is where our name comes from, Mosko.
Okay.
And had to kind of return early. And that was when we started making our first prototypes for the business. And we designed a set of panniers that connected. The original concept was like instead of kind of just soft luggage like a saddlebag that hangs off the side of the bike, let's make something like a frame pack that clicks on the side of a bike. So you get some of the advantages of hard luggage, comes on and off the bike super easy and doesn't flop around while you're riding.
Right.
But then you get the benefits of soft luggage that you can crash on it again and again without damaging it. And you're a lot less likely to break your leg. And that was the kind of seed with which we started the business.
Right. It's interesting because in growing up and doing a lot of the stuff that I did, I was dual sporting before it was called dual sporting, and evidently I was riding adventure bikes before they were called adventure bikes. It was just ding dongs riding GSs out in the dirt.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of where it sort of started with me. But I had an old XT600 that I go do multi-day camping trips off of, and I don't even know where. I took some stuff that I got at Cycle World magazine. It was two backpacks with straps connecting that you laid over the top of your seat. And if my muffler didn't melt it, then my chain grabbed it. And if it didn't do that, it flopped in and grabbed the tire. And there was nothing good. But then there was the hard luggage, like the TourTech stuff, that I was familiar with. Well, BMW you could always order the cases. And that's what they were. They were literally cases.
Yep.
And when the bikes would come to the magazine, they were always decked out with the A-level stuff on them from BMW, you know, their stuff. It lasted about a half an hour of Jimmy riding, you know, with my stuff in it. But I started learning how I could like strap them so they wouldn't flex down and break because they were kind of plasticky. They weren't really aluminum ones. And then I was lucky enough to get onto some TourTech hard ones. But then, like you said, I'm a dirt bike guy. I will do stupid stuff with my feet. You know, I'll dab and my foot goes back, and you don't want your foot to hit hard luggage. So I ride differently when I have hard luggage versus soft luggage. And I've always kind of been a soft luggage guy. And the kind of my go-to has always been to have the TourTech rack system that holds the hard bags, but then to strap over different kinds of bags. And I've used everything from the Giant Loops to the Wolfman to there's a couple others. One of the only ones that I haven't used, other than when we used it when we came back, is the Mosko stuff.
Well, let's change that.
Yeah, we can. For soft stuff, I can do that. I'm still kind of on the TourTech train for the hard stuff, which I like. I really. Yeah. I mean, there's times when I'm putting stuff in there that it needs to be in a hard case, especially camera equipment and stuff like that. I'm just in case, because some of that stuff's expensive. And I'd rather just dent the case and have the stuff inside stay kind of protected. But if I can ride without hard luggage, I will ride without hard luggage.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, when I first started this business 10 years ago, probably the number one question I'd get in the booth is, you know, how does this compare to hard luggage, or why would I choose this versus hard luggage? We almost never get that question anymore. That never comes up.
Right.
Nobody ever asks that anymore. Now it's just what brand of soft luggage should I get? Mm-hmm. You know, and they're comparing us to some of our competitors, and that's the conversation we're having. But in the beginning, everybody had hard boxes. Right. I mean, there was soft luggage around, but like
it was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in the old days, it's got better.
It's improved.
Everybody's evolving and doing different things. But this is something I was going to ask you about. So when you first started, you guys did some kind of a crowdsourcing or something like that, or because I remember some people. I was at a show and they were talking to you or something. And they come over and I wasn't sure what you guys. Oh, what are they doing over there? And they go, well, they're designing or developing like bags.
Yeah.
And then they were asking us, and we can go online and we can do something. And
so we, you know, advrider.com, right?
Right.
You're familiar with that website?
Super familiar. Yeah.
So I had been on ADV Rider just as a you know, contributor and a participant for a long time, just posting about international trips I'd done or was on or whatever. And when we started the business, I had the idea of, you know, how a ride report works on ADV Rider.
Right.
I thought let's do a ride report, but instead of being about a motorcycle trip, let's do it about the process of starting a small company developing motorcycle bags. And so we started this thread of like, well, here's what we did today. Here's what we did this week, or here's a problem we're having. Like, we can't decide. This is what it evolved to, was sort of a design thing of like, hey, should we put a pocket here? What features do you want? What sort of buckle should we use? Or, hey, we did this test. This failed. Anybody have any ideas? Uh-huh. And we were posting about this in real time. And people, you know, in the beginning, there was, I don't know, 20 people following it, 100 people following it. And then, you know, now it's had millions of views. I mean, I've totally lost track.
So like ADV Rider, Rider really popped on our horizon because that's when I started doing my riding schools.
Yeah.
And some of the guys the very first guys that, well, it wasn't even a school. They were all just cashed out of Yahoo were living on yachts and flying helicopters and stuff. They wanted to learn how to ride BMWs off road,
Yeah.
so they found me, and we did a school, and it's literally what started the school. But they were telling me about this thing. Oh, it's ADV rider. You don't know what it is? ADV rider. And so I was one of the early adopters onto that. But it was. In the beginning, it was a bunch of really enthusiastic people that wanted to contribute to the. It wasn't a bunch of trolls, like a lot of forums kind of go that direction, and then they hopefully they settle down. But it was, and man, if you went on there and asked a good question, or you figured something out that's going to help a bike, well, hopefully, kind of like this show, it grows, and it was super organic in that it helped build the school because people were asking questions and I could answer them probably in ways that they weren't familiar with,
Right.
Because it wasn't just get over the back and gas it, and but yeah, I remember how that community was super influential and like really just elevating where ADV riding was at the time.
Yeah, it was incredible. And we're still very, very active on there. And people, if you want to go back and see the whole founding and development of our company, you can go back. The first post in our thread, which is in the vendors forum, is Andrew and I sitting around his kitchen table trying to figure out what to do and how to make a bag. And you can track it all the way through the initial prototypes, all of our testing, my trip back to the Mosquito Coast to retrieve my bike from Panama and ride it down to Panama, and testing the bags and everything up to getting our first bank loan and all the way up to today. So
interesting. Okay,
yeah.
so that's just if you went on ADV Rider and searched Mosko Moto.
Yeah, it's called our thread is called Mosko Moto soft bags, I think, for adventure and dual sport. But yeah, you put in Mosko Moto ADV Rider into Google, and it'll probably pop up at the top of the results.
And that's what you named the thread right at the beginning.
Yeah,
it stayed that way ever since.
Yeah, I don't think we've changed it. We might have changed the title just a little bit when we added apparel. I can't remember exactly, but it's pretty much the same original title.
Huh? Crazy.
Yeah.
And then that has gone well. Bags have gone well.
Bags have gone well.
And then now you guys are into doing gear as well.
Yeah, doing riding apparel.
This show brought to you by Climb, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, we're buddies with Climb. I talked to my buddy at Climb, Mark and Cart today. I got a lot of friends on your sponsor list.
Yeah, I joke because I have partners and sponsors and stuff for this show, but they know, when I do this kind of stuff, I want to have the freedom to have whoever I'd like to have on the show because you have an interesting story. I want to learn something. I hope my guests want to learn something, regardless of what brand you're from. And if we sit there and we'll just debate like pants. Well, I can tell you everything about the Climb pants, and then you can tell me everything about Mosko pants, and then they can decide what they want.
For sure.
That's the way. Yeah. That's the way I like to see it. Because good or bad, that's for you to decide. It's not for in my world an editorial person to tell you good or bad. They should describe it, and then maybe. With studs sticking out of it and super tight pants with no venting, maybe that's for somebody.
Yeah, and we, you go to Climb's site, you'll see Mosko bags and some of their imagery. You go to our site, you'll see Climb helmets and gloves and all kinds of Climb stuff in our imagery. We're friendly competitors and we get along well.
Yeah, cool. So everybody on the Instagrams, I'm gonna send you guys down the road right now. Jimmy Lewis and Jeff from Mosko Moto. Jeff, huh?
Nice.
It's not Jeff, it's Pete. So with that, we're gonna see you out on the trail. Instagram, switch over to our other channels. See ya. Okay, so that one, turning that in now, and then share. I'll figure out how to do this later. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get to our questions that are on the chat. So if you're wondering how to communicate with us, it's real easy. You can comment on the video you're watching. You can send us an email. It's really easy. It's my name at dirtbiketest.com. And if you're watching live, you can type into the chat and we answer the questions the best we can. People are pretty happy that there's sound coming out. Have you sent out the t-shirt emails for payment yet? I haven't seen mine. Well, if you didn't see it, it went out today and somehow or another you didn't get a t-shirt because it's too late. But Mark, if you send me an email, again, it's my name at dirtbiketest.com. I will try to get you in because I haven't actually ordered the shirts, but the payments due like literally tonight. And Mark Daniel, see there, I told you there's going to be a TTTT plus T. Tonight's T, by the way, Ragosa. Some of my special stuff I bring back when I go deep into Mexico. the countershocks guy. I have questions about how to mount that thing to my Tenere. I got the piece yesterday, and I'm confused. It doesn't. It's going to interfere with the fork guard, and I don't know if there's some modifications. So that's his name is Looney, Nate Looney. I know I never remember names, but with a name like that,
That's a cool name.
You gotta remember it. Okay, Leanne Riviere says, "Hey Jimmy, I've been building road books for a few years now, mostly for personal use in Canada and also in Arizona where I live in the winter. I always track out the route with my iPhone on GIA and then up. Is there a limit on words?" Okay. After I load my route into Rally Navigator, sometimes the track points don't line up with the track on Google Earth. What should I believe, the Google Earth track or my track points? Also, bring back the seat C. The seat C. Concepts hotline, so I don't have to type. Thanks, Leanne. I could, you know what? I could have you call into the show. That's easy to do, but I'll answer your question right now. So what she's talking about is Rally Navigator is a really cool software that we use to make navigation road books, so Dakar-style navigation road books. And so she's getting her track someplace else and then importing it into the program. Now, I'm not a software engineer, but I am pretty good at working on Rally Navigator. And it really depends on what you're importing it with. And what you're talking about is an accuracy or a discrepancy between what your GPS unit is seeing and what Rally Navigator is seeing. And sometimes I've seen the accuracy on the phones especially be really bad. I've seen it be really good, and I've seen it be really bad just based on where it's at or how it's what file it's recording in, because when it gets really bad is on some programs, the waypoints, according to Google Earth, go underground. So the altitude information is weird, and it goes underground, and Google Earth says, well, you can't be underground, so we're going to eliminate that one. So it just drops points out. Or the maps, and Rally Navigator uses Mapbox maps, which are different than Google Earth maps. And believe me, there are all these little discrepancies. So it might not be exactly where it is, but for the most part, they're going to be accurate enough to produce a proper road book. And if you need to, you can drag them around a little bit. You can manipulate the points in Rally Navigator. That's the software allows you to do tons of stuff with the data that you import it to. And then there's also a feature where you can just overlay it, and then you can, with your mouse, just click the route so you can kind of follow it where you want to follow it and then don't follow it where you don't. So hopefully, Leanne, that answers your question. I wish we could bring back the seat concepts. Had a rough week this week on sponsors. Lost some in the last month, and lost a couple long time sponsor partners. People I've worked with for a long time. Budget cuts. Or change of marketing person and change of direction, and they're like, "What's this ding dong do?" So and Seat Concepts was so busy. They were pretty cool about it. They actually said, "We don't really need to be doing any advertising right now." when they're
so busy.
When they're 4 months backlogged. Yeah.
Well, you can always find more sponsors.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. I've said this many times before. Pete, it's like I don't have boobs. Yeah, I don't have boobs. So that's my number one thing that's wrong with me on the internets. The next thing I'm not really that famous, and we don't give enough shit away. But so we're going to start giving stuff away because I can fix that, and that's going to get us viewers and followers. You know how that works?
Yeah, is that how it works? All right, I'm taking lessons.
So, okay. Speakeasy 2 says, my Mosko Moto arrived today. Can't wait to install it on my 1090.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, what's up, Speakeasy?
Yeah.
Thanks for the support, man.
Troy Hicks says, where is Mosko gear made?
We make pretty much everything in Asia. We got a bunch of factories over there. So most of our sewing is done in Vietnam. And then we do some radio frequency welding in China. And we do some sewing in Bangladesh, but not that much. But pretty much everything. So our company is based in White Salmon, Washington, up in the Columbia River Gorge. So we design and prototype there. And then the production sewing is done overseas because you got to do it overseas.
Yeah, I don't know really. I mean, is any gear made, in the U.S.?
Aerostitch sews apparel in the U.S.
Okay, wow, yeah.
Aerostitch sews in the U.S. And there's a few other companies too, and those companies have the advantage they can produce in pretty small quantities with short lead times, and they can also do a lot of custom fitting, which is cool.
Okay.
But the garments are usually pretty basic and simple. All the high-tech materials, all the high-tech hardware, everything is manufactured overseas. So it's just a lot more efficient to work with factories there than it is to work with factories here. It's pretty tough to do high-quality production sewing in the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I remember Aerostitch because I used to have one of the one-piece ones that I could ride because I was riding to work all the time when I was at Cycle World on the road and stuff. And it was just so easy to just wear your street clothes and just step into that one piece.
The one piece.
Still by far and away the best one piece I've ever worn.
Yeah, they're still making them.
And they're built tough, heavy, they're duty. And I'd seen guys that have slid down the road. Actually, the first one I got was one of the test riders at the magazine. It was for photo gear. It was on a sport touring thing. He slid down the road, so it had some scratches on it and stuff. And they're like, "Here, shop boy kid. Here, you can wear this one." And it was like, "Oh, this." Well, they were back then. They were $1,000, $1,200, I think, and that's a long. What do they run for now?
I'm not sure actually what they sell for now, but they like us are a direct seller. They don't have dealers, don't have distributors, and so they were doing that before the internet.
Yeah,
and they were doing it with catalogs.
Hold on a second, Andy. Where's Mr. Happy? He's around here. Oh, there he is. I'll get him later. It's an Aerostitch product.
Oh,
you know about this?
No, I have no idea.
I'll have to get it in a few minutes. I'll let you start telling a story, and I can run over and grab Mr. Happy. He's a little hand puppet. Sometimes he's my alter ego on the show.
And he's an Aerostitch?
It's an Aerostitch product. It was kind of like a joke. He started popping up in the catalog. There's always some weird stuff in their catalogs.
Yeah.
Their catalogs are actually pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Sorry to talk about Aerostitch.
No, man, Aerostitch is great. They were like an early role. They don't know this, but they were kind of an early role model for us because of the direct selling thing.
Yeah, and they had this little Mr. Happy thing, and he would show up in like ads, and he got popular on ADV Rider. He kind of popped up, and somehow I ordered one, or he sent it out with a gear order when I was doing a lot of photo modeling for different stuff, and so I have him. He's on the floor right down there. I've had to bring him on the show before to kind of solve some situations, especially with co-hosts that I don't like.
That's Aerostitch quality, still going.
So
that's great.
I wonder if I still have that one-piece suit in California. I don't know.
We see people at events and rallies still with those one-piece suits they bought decades ago. They're sun-faded, and they still work.
Do not wear one or bring one to my class. Just do it, because we judge. Okay, I hate to say it, but we judge because you can't stand up straight. It's meant to be in a kind of a sport touring riding position, and it's really comfortable for that. They don't really work when you go to stand up because you're like, it's kind of like, I think the butt gets really saggy and the crotch gets tight and the back doesn't straight. I don't know what it does, but
so not a good choice for nightclubs or going out in the city either, partying. Fashion shoots.
Maybe certain raves.
First dates.
Yeah, certain raves that you could go to with it, but not off-road friendly or that stuff like that. So John Beck, John Beck?
Yeah.
Photographer.
Oh yeah, what's up, John?
Stoked to see Pete on the show.
Yeah. Well, stoked to see you commenting.
And Frank White of ATK Motorcycles, he bought ATK from Horst and stuff like that. Says I need to periodically introduce my guests. And Frank, you're exactly right, as usual. Pete Day from Mosko Moto. So thanks, Frank. If you would have been here at the beginning of the show, he likes me because I picked one of his motorcycles as my worst motorcycle ever made.
Oh, brutal.
Oh, but Frank, I had Willie Musgrave on the show last week, and I don't know if you got to see this, but check this out. Look at this. It's a nice big picture. I'm going to show it to the fans there. It's look at that bike, Frank. Look at that bike. Jimmy I rode ATKs a little bit here and there. So there you go. You can take a look at that, Pete. Thank you, Frank. Pete Day from Mosko Moto here. Beam Echo says, Tech Vest sources from USA and Canada and makes everything in Canada. Was just looking those guys up. Okay. So, and Dan W5ZT says, look for a weird hat company as a sponsor. Jimmy? Okay. A weird hat company. I would like outside of the industry sponsors. I'd like to go non-industry. I want to talk to you about that too. About your marketing stuff. I'm going to get a pen here and try to write some of this stuff down.
Sure.
Anyways, again, thanks to Double Take Mirrors, Bulletproof Designs, Trail Tech, and Fasst Company. Do you ever run Fasst Company Flex handlebars?
Oh, I have those.
You have those?
In fact, the guys at Taco Moto put them on.
Okay, yeah. They're really, really good.
Yeah.
I have friends of mine, friends of the show. I was talking to Cole the other day because his kid is on the fast path to become a professional motocross racer. So we talk about mini bike dad life all the time. That's who I was talking to when you were pulled up the other day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So anyhow, Fasst Company Flex handlebar, and if you think they're good on a motorcycle, you got to try them on a mountain bike. You know how mountain bikes are just jar your wrists? I have really bad wrists. Like the mountain bike handlebars are insane.
Whoa.
Because then you can run your forks stiffer.
Yeah.
And then they don't beat your hands up, and then you get better traction and less.
How about that? Yeah.
Floating around and stuff like that. So
cool.
So the next question is you're into gear now, and your gear is you kind of like stop at where you like say non-race. It's if you're not racing, it's everything on the other side of that.
Yeah, we sort of create a bookend. So down on the dirt bike side, we kind of say if you take the world of dirt bikes and you kind of put a line between racing and trail riding. And so sort of say on one side of that line, you got just kind of trail riding, backcountry riding, exploring, but not competing. And then on the other side, you've got kind of enduro racing and then all the way out to motocross tracks. So draw a line there and then go to the far other end of the spectrum and adventure bikes and the big kind of 1200, 1300 cc adventure bikes and draw a line through that segment. And on one side, you've got the long distance pavement guys. And on the other side, you got the folks that are drawn more to like testing their abilities in dirt. And those represent the two bookends of our business. So everything in between those two lines is kind of our space. So we do the middleweights, the 890s, the 690s, the 500s, the people that are touring and doing long distance trips on 500s, people that are out trail riding on 300s. But you get into racing and competition and motocross tracks, that's somebody else's world.
Right. And the thing I notice about your gear is that it looks very casual. You don't feel like you're wearing a clown outfit into McDonald's in the morning.
Yeah.
You can if you were wearing your gear to go riding, or if you were riding and wearing your gear, you would walk into McDonald's and people wouldn't look at you like a space alien.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, if you look at our stuff that's designed more for touring, we're thinking not just about, performance-wise, we're thinking about how does it work on the bike? Does it keep the water out? All those things. But then also we're thinking you're traveling and living in this gear sometimes for months. And so, it's got to feel appropriate for that in terms of its presentability. And then on the dirt bike and trail riding side of things, a lot of the bright colors are really designed for the track. And when you get out in the woods, they feel a little bit silly. And that we're not opposed to bright colors at all, but we tend to take bright colors that are a little bit more nature inspired and a little bit more outdoor product inspired and a little less sort of Monster energy drink, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Yep, I know exactly what you mean. It's because I wear it all. And the same thing is when I wear my climb gear at the track, I get heckled. I mean, literally. I mean, it's generally friendly, but some of it's got some points to it. But I like it when people heckle me in my climb gear, and then I ride past them. Especially when there are other magazine editors that say something. I'll go actually put like a fanny pack on and go ride around the motocross track. Pass them and just say, fanny pack is really cool on the track. So, anyways, on to so my question about the on the marketing side of thing is so you guys are dealer direct or customer direct?
Customer direct. We don't sell to dealers.
Oh, not even dealers.
No dealers. Yep.
No dealers.
No dealers. No distributors.
And how are you guys doing like your marketing? Where is that done? I know you do a lot of events.
Yeah, we do a lot of events. And, for us, we have sort of one foot in the online world and one foot in the in-person world. So, and that's always been that way. In the beginning, it was like in-person events and then ADV Rider. And now it's ADV Rider, Instagram, YouTube. And then we still do a ton of events. We do almost 50 events every year. So I think we're around 47 events in the US, Europe, Canada, and on and off years in Australia as well.
Wow.
We have a warehouse in Amsterdam, a warehouse in Portland, Oregon in the US. And we ship to 119 different countries, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And so pretty much we reach people online or in person or through word of mouth. So, I think that the in-person events, we have a lot fewer contacts, but they're much sort of more in-depth, like really intense contacts. Like you're talking to someone face-to-face, explaining a bag to them one-on-one. And then online, you have videos that gets tens of thousands of views, but who are these people? You never really know.
Yeah, that's what, it's kind of funny because with the riding schools, I'm always wondering, like, how can I reach more people without giving away what we do? Because my selling point is the way that we teach, and we teach quite a bit different than it's often copied. I like to say it's often copied, never duplicated, and so it's like if you go to that kind of online method, are people willing to pay for stuff online? I mean, they're willing to pay and buy a physical thing, but like to buy a video series, and I've seen a couple guys that have done them, and I have no idea how successful they are. But that's almost where we're starting to look at doing this stuff, because travel's becoming a little bit more expensive, air travel and things like that, hotels. And this is a luxury, to be able to go and do this. And I mean, there's definitely a lot of people that are out doing it, but the amount of people that actually want to train or get better at it, it's amazing to me how like small it is. They'd rather buy a part for their bike that they think is going to make them better, as opposed to working on their skills. You're different, of course, because you and I don't know. I mean, my question in there is like, what prompted you to come? I mean, you've seen me at events, so you've obviously heard my kind of spiel and stuff before.
Well, actually, that's a great example. I found out about you at events. I came into the industry. I'd never heard of you before I got in the industry, and I came in and I started seeing you do your demos at events. And I thought they were really impressive. And then word of mouth kicked in. So I talked to a few people that had done your class, and they were like, I did it. It was amazing. I learned so much. It was incredible. And that always stuck with me. And then when I ended up on your website, it was on your website. You have I was reading about the description of
skill levels.
Skill levels. And I loved the concept of just one class. And I was like, oh, this is great. Huh. Like, it's one class, and it doesn't matter, if I came here with a friend who was new to dirt. Right. And I've been riding dirt I ride dirt, every week, all the time, like constantly for years. And the thought that we would be in the same class learning the same thing, I thought was really intriguing. And there were a few other little clues.
How are we gonna pull that off?
But and it really works, by the way. I now, having taken the class, I'm like so on the same page with you in the way you teach and the kind of concept of a few basic principles that you can take with you, and it doesn't matter if you're advanced or a beginner. For me, it was incredibly helpful. But that purchase process that led to me being in your class, I mean, if you look at that, I got an event, word of mouth, and electronic. So I had multiple touch points before I ended up here. And I think that sale process is the same sale process that works for us and that works in this kind of world of marketing. It's multiple touch points, and it's a mix of in-person events and electronic.
Yeah, it takes a little while for someone to actually kind of to get convinced. We'll say. I mean, we have like an online beginner school that I just haven't promoted enough, and it's like, because it's for somebody that, like, because I don't talk to those people. I probably never will talk to the complete rank beginner, or someone that, like, I want to ride one of those. And now it's even electric bikes, these electric kind of like the Surons and stuff are bringing a lot of people in, and they're gonna, hey, I want to ride a real dirt bike, and then they're gonna want to come and see me. So I kind of start with, like, okay, here's a motorcycle, and here's the controls, and here's how it works. We start with, like, before you even ride it, you got to learn how to stop it. Because I don't want you on top of something you can't stop, and that's the number one thing. You see videos all day long of people riding along, and then their wrist turns and they forget, like, where are the brakes now?
And there's so much misinformation out there about how to ride a motorcycle. There's so much pseudoscience. I mean, it's like diet or working out or something like that. It's just all this garbage information, and finding the real quality information that you can remember at the moment you need it is extremely difficult. And one of the cool things about your class is that you come back to like a few core concepts. And I left right from here after the class and went out on a trip. And it's amazing how often I returned, even just riding easy stuff, just standing up on the pegs, cruising. And I was like, man, let me try this slower, balance. And am I initiating a turn, or am I controlling a turn? I came back to, and because it was delivered in a way that at the moment I needed those thoughts, I could recall them. it wasn't this like big jumble of information, where you get out and you just have forgotten it all.
Right.
It was very, very cool.
Yeah, and the reason we've evolved to teaching it, we didn't start out like that. We started like everybody else. We were setting up cones. Hey, right around the cones, get your elbows up, sit forward, all the things you hear all the time. But then we realized it's like, that's not the problem. The problem is always balance. It's always the rider is out of balance and they never start in balance. They don't figure it out. I did an extreme enduro class this weekend for guys that are going to race this King of the Motos. So this is the most ridiculous, stupid kind of riding you'd ever think of, which I really enjoy doing. Some people say it looks like you push your bike a lot. And it's like, yeah, if I was a better rider, I wouldn't, but at least I know what I can do, But we did an extreme enduro class on a flat dirt road. A flat, little bit sandy, but just a big flat dirt road. We did 3 hours of, quote, techniques you need to make an extreme enduro easier for you. What do you think they were? Balance and traction.
Yeah, traction. Yeah. How funny.
All the same stuff is like the first, basically the same first 3 hours of the class, because if I don't teach you that, if I just went straight out to the dry lake bed and said, okay, here's how to initiate a turn, here's how to use your brakes and stuff like that. If I left that whole first 3 hours out, you're going to be doing everything else wrong the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And then you're going to wonder why you're crashing, and you're wondering why things don't work, and you wonder why somebody can go around a turn faster than you and somebody can go through the bumps faster than you. And it's really simple.
You remember that scene in Karate Kid with the wax on, wax off, and
right.
the paint the fence, It's like that.
A little bit.
It's a little bit like that. You got
It's not as laborious, you can try to make it fun. So, okay. Let's see. We got some more questions kind of coming there. Frank White said, "Nice." We have a top commenter. Victor, saludos, Pete. You smuggled some snoochos, sponges back into the USA.
Somebody who follows me on Instagram. What's up, Victor? That's cool, man. Yeah, so I did a little review. In Mexico when you go to the gas stations, like in Baja,
and Victor's a world-class beaner, and I can say that because I'm a co-beaner with him. Right? But he's a good fan of the show.
So there's two. They have these incredible snack arrays when you go to the gas station. All these bright, crazy snacks, and there's two that look really similar. They're like little cookies, and they have marshmallow poofs on them, and one of them has a little dab of jam, and the other doesn't, but they're like same color and everything. And so I did a online review comparing the two, between Arco Iris, which is one of them, and Sponge is the other. So you can see it on my Instagram at Mosko Pete. Actually, Arco Iris was the winner, not the Sponge, but they're both delicious. You can't go wrong. Both good snacks.
Yeah, I actually, where the heck was I the other day? Oh, I was in Baker. I had to stop in Baker because they do all the traffic break going on the highway now, and I know how to time it a little bit. So I said, well, I saw when the cars were coming. I'm like, I'm gonna have to wait there for 40 minutes. So I stopped in Baker and went into the little store, in a full-on little Mexican store, and they had the Mexican cookies, and I got a little roll of those things. I don't know what they're called. They're called the tikis.
The tikis.
Tikis or something like that.
They're so good. This assortment of snacks and the colors, and it's just like so hard to decide when I go into those stores down there.
Yeah, they're probably, the reason they're so good is they're probably just full of really bad stuff for you.
Yeah.
So that's
I feel like I always gain weight.
Easier to do this in a basilisk versus arrow stitch. No, and
what do we got?
He's got a link. I can click on the link. I wonder if I can.
Yeah, definitely easier in a basilisk.
Yeah,
you'll be a lot less hot.
Yeah, so it's a picture of me doing maybe I'll see if I can get that onto the show somehow or another. That picture, that's actually good. That's so.
Oh, that's John.
That's John shot that, and he was laying down on the ground on a dry lake bed, and I had to wheelie up over his camera and let the bike pivot down because he wanted this kind of
nice. He trusts you.
He wanted that angle. Yeah, so I'll see.
That's a cool shot.
Peter Postel, a guy I grew up riding and racing against, says Mosko Instagrams are good.
Right on, Peter. Thank you.
So, and Michael Clark is Andrew Short going to Dakar this year? Michael, the answer is no. I don't think so. He had a pretty bad back injury earlier in the year on his motorcycle, and I don't know if that would. He's riding and actually doing races and stuff again, but I don't know if he can sit in a car for that length of time, and I don't know how his back would hold up onto it. I haven't actually asked him how his back would hold up in a car, but it seems like he likes riding his dirt bike, and he's got a little kid now that's going mini bike racing, so he's mini bike dad too. Speakeasy 2 says it's an something, but I don't know what that is. Peter Pressa, Jimmy, you're one finger on the bike for balance. Haven't forgotten that. More than one figure of energy, you're using too much. You need to come back for a refresher, Peter. I've seen videos of you riding, and I want to use a couple of them for like how not to on some videos I'm going to work on. So just remember that. Mark DeShane, found my T-shirt email and paid. I thought it was just another JLR school riding email. Okay, Mark, listen. So we sent out newsletters. The only time we send out newsletters is when we announce new dates. So maybe 4 or 5 a year, and that people just think they're junk, and so they just don't click on them. And sometimes we have a free riding tip in them. It's good. So
read those emails.
Read the emails from me. I don't know. I can't control everything. Oh, I spent all morning sending out all these T-shirts because we've been promising the Tech Talk Taco, the one I'm wearing right now. The Tech Talk Taco Tuesday T-shirt.
Was I supposed to put this on?
No. Don't worry. We can fix that. Watch. You don't even Pete.
Oh, you beat me to it.
Hold on a second. I got to get to. Here we go. Here. Yeah. You don't see. You can wear one even if you don't want to. So.
Hey, it looks good on me.
So I spent all. That guy was buff. I spent all morning. You cannot believe is a form, and it says name, address, what T-shirt, and quantity do you want. And so some people put 2XL. Does that mean should you put XXL or should you put 2-XL? So I had to contact a lot of people and say, what did you really want?
You didn't know if they wanted 2 XL shirts or a double XL.
And then you have to put in the thing in a $25 shirt. So it's pretty simple math. And so a lot of times I could determine, okay, if he's put 2XL and it was $50, okay, he wants 2 shirts. Figure this out. And if it was 2XL and it was $25, he wants 1 XL shirt. But I followed up with questions.
Yeah.
But I think people use too much Google to fill in their addresses and it only put the street address in, no city.
Oh, yeah, the autofill.
Autofill.
Yep.
It's not worth it, people. The T-shirt, even though it looks really good on Pete right now, that nice T-shirt.
Mm-hmm. I've been working out.
It wasn't worth all the stuff. So okay, and Leanne is going to trust her track points and tweak the intersections to make the cap headings accurate. Then invite you to verify the routes. Yeah, that sounds correct. This isn't Rally Navigator talk. When Mike Shirley's on the show, then we can have Rally Navigator talk. So he'll be back pretty soon. He's gonna come down and do some rally riding with us here in the near future. So good on that. So we've answered all the questions. So we're gonna go to the other questions. Where are we at on the? We're got 15. We can knock off 15 minutes of questions. So we'll start with the Utah Desert Racer one. There it gives me a chance to have a little sip of tequila here. By the way, Ragosa, again, for those that weren't earlier on the show. Frank, this is my Ragosa Reposado tequila. I'm going to introduce it, too, along with my tonight's guest, Pete Day from Mosko Moto. Okay, question number 1.
Question number 1. Okay, this is from Utah Desert Rider 1806. Appreciate the show. You guys do a great job. One bad night is no big deal. And a thumbs up emoji.
Okay, well, I learned a lesson. I learned a couple things. We've only dropped 682 frames in this entire show, which is not many. Like the last show, there was alerts and red things going on. So it's not as easy as you'd think. I know everybody would just like to, actually everybody is doing a podcast. In fact, I have a beef. I have podcast beef. With do you follow Dirt Bike TV?
No,
it's my buddy Jay.
Yeah.
We used to call him Wiseco Jay because he was the hookup for the Wiseco guy. Then he was Dunlop Jay because he was hookup for Dunlop tires. He kind of serviced the media.
Okay.
He's essentially a media service guy. And but he started his own thing called Dirt Bike TV where he does really quick little insta hits on how to do this, how to do that. And I've had him on the show a couple times. And he's a great because he's like me. You ask him how to do something and he has a different way of doing it, which is kind of cool. So we discussed the different ways and why. He started a podcast. So he saw the podcasting world, and now he's got a podcast. He's got a Tech Talk podcast, and we're going to have to go into competition. But he also on his Instagram, I had him on the Best of show. He was no problem coming on the Best of show because he says lots of good things, doesn't like to say anything bad.
Yeah.
And he came on the Best of, and he picked a bike that was he really sold it. He picked a Honda 450 as the best bike ever. Huh. And this week he's changed his mind. He picked a KTM as the best bike.
Which KTM?
I think it was a 350.
Okay.
And I picked KTM 500 as the best bike just to do one all. This show's brought to you by Yamaha, by the way. Yamaha, all new WR and FX 450 this year. We're excited to ride those really soon. But so he's copying me. I'm upset, and he wouldn't come.
Well, you're promoting him right now.
It's okay. I can promote him. He's good. He's got good content, but I want to be on I need to be on his podcast so we can argue, and B, he can't copy me anymore. Switching over to the KTM side. That's he was so Honda. He had the Honda. He had sold it on me. But I put in a comment when I saw that. I said, no, we talked about this.
Nice.
So he's got but he wouldn't come on my worst of show, and he wouldn't pick a worst bike. Because you make enemies when you do that. Sorry, Frank. the makeup I picked the ATK 700, which they made a 700cc two-stroke. Yeah. And literally, Frank White was the only person in the world that could start it with any regularity. And I can start almost anything, and I had a really hard time starting it. And I don't like bikes that I can't start. So that was my reasoning. Plus, there's no need for a 700cc two-stroke. It's like a big giant diesel. It just doesn't even rev. It makes all its torque right away, and then it just goes flat. And it's nice to kind of think you're feeling that much power, but it really didn't seem like all that much power. But it was a Mako engine. They were made for sidecar racing, like a big giant two-stroke.
Crazy.
Yeah, nuts. So, okay, Pete, please make a turtleneck UV jersey.
A turtleneck? How about that? I think that's the first time we've ever been asked to make a turtleneck.
I always wear the the things you used to wear,
the buffs,
the fake
kinda.
COVID masks. Yeah, buffs. Yeah, I always wear those.
Yeah.
Like just because I'm always out in the sun. I mean, you can tell by my tan lines,
I think that's what he's suggesting is to just build that into the shirt.
Into the jersey.
And cover up your, because your neck just gets like brutalized.
Yep.
For the sunburn.
And
it's a good idea.
Even with the windburn in the face. And because I just use the buff and I pulled up. That's the short-term solution, Pete. But with finger holes to keep the sleeves pulled down.
Yep.
Now so I ran last night, and because it's cold, I wore a kind of a technical running jacket. I know you don't think I run. I look kind of fat. It was my first run in like 3 to 5 months. No, less than 5 because I did a beer mile down in Death Valley when it was 130 degrees, but that's a whole different story. But that bothers me, like in riding. Because
having the finger holes bothers you?
Hole, yeah.
Why?
Because the way I hang onto the bike, and it's I'm just sensitive to it. And
so we add those finger holes sometimes for 2 reasons, depending on the garment. We'll add them if it's an undergarment. So in other words, something that you plan to pull a jacket over the top, we put in the thumb holes, and you use them just to get your sleeve down the sleeve of an outer jacket, so it doesn't go up like this, right? When you stuff it in there. And then we put them on some jerseys, because when you get up, like if you have to do a pavement section or something like that, and you're moving fast, then the sleeves go up here and you get all this sun exposure. So we don't really intend people to be like riding all day like that. We put them there either to put a jacket on or to hold it down at high speed. That's it. Yeah.
Because I know some of my my climb jackets have that little sleevey thing. So it's like a gauntlet that kind of comes down, and they generally have the finger hole in there, and I never run it because especially when you kind of have it in a glove. Yep. It's just too much.
No, it's too much. Yeah, you get this bunching up right there.
Yeah, I don't even like padded gloves.
But you can, the cuff, if it's a cuff, there's 2 ways to do it. You can do it as a cuff, or you can do it as just a slit in the sleeve. Uh-huh. And, the cuff you can just wear without using the hole, or you can cut it out because you won't be crossing any important seams.
Right.
And then the slit, you'll barely notice if you're not using it.
Yeah.
But I also find that if I ride for very long with the thumb hole in it, it bunches up and hurts my finger.
Yeah. Victor says, you run to the fridge. What, Victor? I'm confused again. So, anyways, wait, he's answering Chris Kapunski's Coop Z. Can you read that word? Coop.
I can't see it from here. Kupczynski?
Kupczynski. Yeah. Have a KLX 300R. What would be a good bike to progress to for California trail riding and doing, I think he means doing some track. It could be text to speech, I'm not sure. Or maybe he's having his hard time with the words like I did with his last name.
I think you're right. And some track.
And some
That's
track.
A good guess, yeah.
Right, yeah. Okay, some track. So KLX 300R is what I would call it, kind of referred to as a play bike. You know, it's got some suspension travel, it's not competition in any way. The motor is pretty tame, power delivery, you know. At that point, you know, I have to just tell you that you need a Yamaha YZ250FX or a WR250FX because they're a sponsor of the show, and I would only say the sponsors. But KTM 350s are not bad to look at in this price range. I have a couple of a KTM RFS 4-strokes that I'm willing to sell. So, Chris, but once you start going to the track, you're going to go away from that kind of the enduro, which would be the Yamaha WR. You would want to be more like the FX. Same thing on the KTM line. You want to stay away from EXC or XCW and go to XC because they're a little bit more competition. If you want to stay on the green bike, Kawasaki, they make the KXX, which is it's essentially a motocross bike with an 18-inch rear wheel and a kickstand, and that will work there. But there's all different things. But once you say track, you need to be a little bit more on the aggressive side. I mean, I can still go ride like my KTM XCW or even my EXCs on the track, but I have to be careful because they just don't have the safety built into it. So when you overjump a jump or, you go up jump faces and it compresses and it uses all the suspension, and then when they rebound, they get funky, and it's not you, it's the bike at that point. So you have to be careful of it and be aware of it. So when you're just kind of progressing, sometimes those kind of bikes may not be the best thing. And you can find used motocross bikes, used competition bikes all day long, because usually the racers use them for a year and sell them because they want to get the next latest greatest thing. And generally, those bikes are in pretty good, for most guys, are in pretty good shape. So you run to the fridge. Still confused, Victor. He says some one-liner. Actually, when George, he was one of the coaches in the school, right? So George says some pretty bad things in this show, and he says Victor says, and then he'll say what he wants to say.
Nice.
It's something that Mark DeShane says Jay Clark, this is a Dirt Bike TV, Jay Clark uses a cutting wheel to break chains with the sparks hitting the plastic. How does Jimmy Lewis break chains? I hear that Motion Pro actually makes it chain breaker. This is true. I don't use the grinder. So what Jay's doing when he does that is he's grinding off the part that's been swedged down to make it easier for the chain breaker to push the pin through. But yeah, I have some of those old school, the ones I used to carry with me when I was like dual sport riding and like a long ways away. It's that kind of like C-clamp looking Motion Pro chain breaker. It was a really rough casted piece with a swivel out kind of pop riveted handle, and then it had the pin in it. I have the little tiny ones. Have you ever seen those little teeny tiny ones that just like they're a little metal cube? Mm-hmm. That you can break a chain with.
It's a chain breaker?
Yeah, it's a chain breaker that's this big. Really? It's a bolt with a pin in it, and it slides in. It only pushes it a little bit at a time.
Oh, huh.
But you can get it through.
I gotta check that out.
Really tiny when you're really trying to pack tight. And then in my shop, I have a really nice big Motion Pro chain breaker as well. And since I use it a lot, I do have the Motion Pro one. If I weren't using it a lot, I'd go to Rocky Mountain MCA TV. By the way, if you're going to Rocky Mountain MCA TV, click through the link on Dirt Bike Test. We get a little cut of that, and you'll help make my Christmas a little merrier. You'll pay for the producer I don't have. That's what you'll do. They have a lot of tools as well. They're kind of their house tools, and they're if you're using them every day, probably not the most durable. I mean, I think they'll get the job done for most people, but if you're only having to break a few chains every couple of years, go for it. So check out those things. So I actually, I wouldn't mind the sparks hitting the plastic. In fact, I probably should do some Instagram videos with like shooting sparks at myself, like, but wear glasses for safety, right? Wear Scott goggles. See how I just pulled
Nice. That was good.
Sponsor plugs. Yeah, I wear my Scott goggles when I do my grinding. I should just wear them on the show because actually, look at the amplified lens. Look at the color differential in that.
Yeah, that's something.
If you're riding like out here in the summer because we have a lot of white dirt and it's just really hard on the eyes. That's some insane thing. And then in the winter I wear their polarized, the light sensitive ones.
For skiing or for moto?
No, for riding.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're probably you're not a goggle guy.
I wear goggles. Yeah, I mean, I trail ride too.
Okay.
But I have I have clears for the woods, and then I've got some Oakleys for the
So I do light sensitive in the winter just because it's not that harsh. Sun isn't that harsh, but when the sun's harsh, those things are amazing.
Cool.
It's like your eyes.
I got to check those out.
It's like your eyes are going to bed. They're all relaxed.
They're fashionable too.
Yeah, they have all different bands. We got the 6 Days special edition. This is the Pro Circuit special edition.
Doesn't your co-host gets a free set of goggles, right? Wasn't that part of the sponsorship deal?
You never know. We might be able to arrange something. I'm like, I don't even have a brand new pair right now. I might need to talk to him about that. Actually, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make this show better by giving stuff away. But I thought I should give it to the people that are watching.
You don't want more co-hosts. You want more audience.
No, I do want more co-hosts. Driving squirrely, says Chris. That's why it was the texting. Don't text and drive. You're going to run into a stupid motorcycle people. Or if you're ever driving around this town at night, everybody likes to walk on the street. Like people are getting hit left and right around you. You really got to pay attention.
People walk and perump. There's a lot of pedestrians.
Well, when you lose your driver's license and then you get caught riding your go-kart to the liquor store or the bar, and they take that away from you, and then your bicycle, it breaks too. Then you have to walk.
And it's 3 a.m. and you're grinding your teeth, smoking meth.
Yeah, yep. And the liquor store's still open, or you're just going to see your buddy because he has more.
Right.
You've learned a little bit about perump very quickly. Valley of the Dirt people, we like to say out here.
I like that.
And I say that.
That's good.
I say it affectionately.
Yeah.
I am a dirt person. I like it out here.
That's good.
I can ride my dirt bike down the street legally to get to off-road riding. That's actually fairly good when it's not bone dry. But we did get some sprinkles today.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the mountain bike riding. How was that?
It was great. It was amazing. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And what a great place for a training school too, with the lake bed and the dunes and the gravel.
Right.
Got kind of a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Gronk has dibs on the RFS bike. Send the offer, buddy. I'll make you a package deal. I'll figure it out. I can get him all the way up to Washington too, I think. You going back up there?
Yeah.
I know a way to get him to Portland
in spring.
Yeah, I know a way. Well, they're frozen in. Do you know that in Canada everybody lives underground? That during the winter they all live underground.
Oh, is that what happens up there? I always wondered that.
That's why they have little beady eyes, and that's why they're really happy, because when you get to see them when they come out, they're outside and they get to see the sun.
And the pale skin, and that all makes sense now.
It makes them happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a Canadian, but I think he's a big guy and he probably wants to beat me up, lumberjack size. Do you know Radek?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Radek's another Canadian.
Yeah.
I think he tries to not live underground that much.
Right. He rides an 890 like a dirt bike.
Right. He's got a problem. He tries to get me to go riding with him, and I'm like, Radek, that's not what that's for.
That's so funny. I've had similar thoughts. I'm like, wow, man. But God, it's cool what they do. I'm glad somebody does it.
He's big. There's guys like Paul Torres, does all the Tenere stuff, and Radek is Paul Torres is a world class trials rider before he started doing all of the stuff on the. But he's a giant. I don't know how he rode a trials bike. 'Cause it's just a big dude, but that stuff's it's for stunts, and I can do it, but. Remember that you're only seeing the highlight reels.
Have you seen this guy Matt Spears on YouTube and Instagram with his Honda Goldwing that he's riding on Slick Rock and like up Hell's Gate and
people have told me about this. I don't spend as much time trolling the internet as I guess I'm supposed to.
Matt Spears is his name, and he's a really talented rider. But he gets on Goldwing, big Goldwing. The thing is just destroyed, and he rides it up stuff that you can't believe.
I think I saw it reposted on some sort of a motocross forum. Does he have one where he's carrying a motorcycle on the back of it or something?
I think so. Yeah, I think there's one where he's got a dirt bike on the back, and he's got a Hayabusa sport bike too. He takes out in the sand dunes and stuff. It's amazing. It's really cool. It's neat. Yeah, find him on Instagram or YouTube or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. N.S. Zugi, whatever. What is a large frame motorcycle like my '05 KTM 525 MXC? I like that bike because the frame seems larger than other bikes. What's funny, interesting to bring that up, is those older KTMs were very stretched out, very roomy. For a guy like me, they were almost too roomy, and I had to bring the bars in a little bit closer. And I didn't mind kind of the foot pegs, but if I ever went to a tall seat in one of those bikes, then it really stretched out, and I could never get it. But I hate to say it, but I don't think you're going to find anything that's that roomy in the frame. But I will tell you that when we just did our 450 comparison, a few of our larger, taller riders went and bought Kawasaki's. Don't know why, but they did. And these guys had raced Kawasaki's back in the day, and Kawasaki's a long time ago used to be a more roomy bike. I didn't notice it so much, but they obviously found something that they liked. And Kawasaki does stock allow you to lower the foot pegs on the frame. So there's a separate mounting that you can lower them down. I think it's 5 forward and 10 down, which is weird because I don't think they should be going forward. But that's the way that they make it work. But maybe see if you can get a test ride on one of those things. And then John Beck, low tech sometimes has its advantages. That Pix was shot with a 1930s tech that doesn't require batteries, and I still like my LC4.
Nice.
So
old school.
Yeah, he's put the link up in the chat to that photo also. So cool. Thanks, John. And let's see. Leanna Riviere says, I'll co-host if you want. 47 years of riding enduro, 6 days in rally, also from Canada, and my eyes are open currently in Arizona, so willing to travel. Okay. We'll take that into consideration. Send your resume in. With nudes, of course.
Oh, my. That's going straight to the HR department.
Yeah, I'm not going to work there tomorrow, so it'll get lost in the inbox. Okay, what do we get to?
Yeah, you ready? Yeah, we got a whole bunch of questions here. That was just number one.
Oh, let's take a quick little break, and then we'll get to the second half of questions. So if you have your questions, Gronk says the Cove 450 Rally is very tall and roomy, and I totally agree with that. That is true. I forgot to mention that. And it's a great adventure bike with some Mosko Moto bags on it. And I know this for a fact. So enjoy the ad break.
The defending champion. The all-new Yamaha YZ450F.
3 minutes.
Okay, cool. You happy? Is it going well?
Oh, yeah, it's going
okay,
perfect.
Good.
Yeah. And you can interrupt anytime you want.
Yeah, cool.
And say mean and bad things.
Talk about boobs and nudes.
Well, the thing is, it's funny. I think on.
What's up, Moto Buddies? Mike here from Taco Moto Co. What is the Taco Touch? It's the best service in the industry. Virtually 24/7 tech support via email or text, and it's like having a dirt bike doctor on call every day of the year, helping you fix your bike or recommend parts or setups for you. If you've ever received an order from us, you know that the Taco Touch extends to our fulfillment, and our orders come with the coolest stickers that you've ever had, buying parts from anybody before, and a handful of root beer barrel candies. All of our Taco Moto co-branded components come with a no questions asked lifetime warranty, and we'll even extend out the warranty of other manufacturers, OEM, and aftermarket parts where we can, sometimes for life. We test and tune endlessly and exhaustively and obsessively. We're trying to destroy everything that we can before you get your hands on it to look for weaknesses and to improve it, or to make recommendations to the manufacturer. And if it's something that doesn't meet grade, then we don't offer it on the store. Everything that we carry is something that we have personally used, tested, and ridden, and raced, and knows meets the high taco touch demanding standard. Go out and get some adventure.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Hey, we left our mics on so you could hear us talk about you viewers while we were walking away. I like to apologize to Pete for the whole show. I apologize to everybody that for even doing the show, and I should apologize for you for having.
And why is that? What specifically are you apologizing for?
Oh, I don't know.
Just
because
my offense boundary is way beyond where we're at. It's way beyond meth and boobs. Trust me.
Okay, so we're gonna dive right back into the questions here. Todd Lofstrom says, I'm having trouble keeping my bike in the rut at the exit of turns on my KTM 250 SXF. Slowing the rebound on the forks helps. Any other bikes setup ideas to try to help? So, Todd, I can tell you all kinds of bike setup things to try. It's real easy, but I'll tell you what the number one problem is. You want to guess what the problem with why his bike isn't working properly?
Something to do with balance?
Yeah. So we'll go one step further. It's the rider. Is generally the problem, especially at the exit of the turn. So, so when you're talking about the exit of the turns, are you trying to climb out of the rut? Or are you falling down into the rut? Because this is important to the answer of the question. But because you're at that point, what I think is going on is that I'm going to guess that the bike's trying to stand up in the rut, which means you're accelerating at that point, which is causing it to stand up, and you're probably not waiting long enough to get onto the gas. You're actually going around. You're going in too slow, and then you're having to accelerate coming out, and that's what's causing the bike to do something funky. And the thing is if you change your setup to affect that part of the turn, it's gonna change the way that the bike works in the other parts of the turns where maybe it's fine. So a lot of times it's just kind of analyzing what you're doing as a rider, and then kind of figuring it out. Because in order to get it to stay down, and if you're saying slowing the rebound helps, I can kind of see that, but maybe try on the bike side of things, adding a little bit of high-speed compression, which will actually kind of hold it up in the strokes, which will push the fork down a little bit. That would be if the rebound is helping and you don't want to affect any place else on the track too much, try high-speed compression on the shock. That would be my next thing. Okay, what's our next question on that one?
All right. Hi, Jimmy. This is from Scott Rodriguez. Hi, Jimmy. Thanks for the t-shirt. I wanted to get some info about your H-bar setup on your 1090. Would you mind detailing your exact setup? I'm trying to duplicate it and use a set of highway dirt bikes handguards. Any information greatly appreciated. And also, it's a two-part question. Also, what do you think of the Mako 360?
Okay, that we'll add that into it.
Okay.
Also, so my exact setup on my KTM 1090s or 1090s, 1190s, I have 3 of them. Is I'm running a BRP mount. That's their vibration mount with a Scott's damper that's sub-mounted. So in other words, the damper is underneath the bars, and then I'm running Fasst Company flex handlebars. I'm running their standard height, and I'm running the standard height on the 2 that I use predominantly as street bikes. And with the Fasst Company flex handlebars, you can mount the BRP or the highway dirt bike mounts. They make a mount pivot for it because the with those handguards they have to pivot to allow the handlebars to work. So that's kind of my setup. And on my 1090, which I use more as a dirt, I use it more dirt. I've actually milled down the BRP mounts, so it's actually lower, and I think it was 15 millimeters lower, and it was as low. It's basically as low as I could go without kind of having some interference and stuff, because I was in between the two different heights of Fasst Company bars, and I wanted to be something in the middle. So that's how picky I get with that stuff. That's the setup. I'm running 12 degrees in the sweep, so the Fasst Company bars are 12 degrees sweep. I don't know what that equates to and other stuff, but if you call up Cole at Fasst Company and ask him, he knows what all of my setups are. So he has a really good idea and can kind of help you out there. But if you're asking about the Mako, that's a whole different thing. That's kind of trying to achieve the similar thing. Are you familiar with the Mako mounts? Mm. So it's essentially it's a handlebar mount that it's meant to isolate vibration and shock and stuff. So it's kind of a mount that you mount the handlebar. It's sort of inside of a tube, and then there's elastomers around the bar that connect it to the triple clamp. So it isolates. So the bar can actually move around, and it's kind of controlled the way that I actually helped him design some of his elastomers and stuff when he was very first starting, and so it's a little bit different than the way the flex bar works. I think it might actually be a little bit better for vibration. I don't personally like it for because it allows the bars to turn a little bit. You know, there's some flex absorption this way, not just kind of up and down, not impact wise. That's why I have the BRP mount for the vibration and the flex bars for the impact absorption on my setup. So it's kind of, you know, like I said, there's all different ways to kind of do the different thing. There's other suspension handlebars that have different kinds of things. I just saw now they have a bar mount that has a shock absorber into it, but it's kind of the good thing about the Fasst Company bars for me is that they're isolated. So one side or the other, if you have an impact and you're weighted onto one side or the other, it kind of handles that as opposed to moving the whole bar. And the moving of the handlebars is what bothers people with like suspension type handlebars. They all move in some way a little bit, and it's just how sensitive you are to that. But that's my setup, and I know a lot of people are running the Mako and are happy with it. I just tend to prefer the flex handlebar.
You want another from the list?
Okay. Yep.
All right. This is at Anthony Z 3004. And what modifications would it take to turn a T7 into something approaching your HP2, besides a BMW logo taped to the side?
You'd have to add I think you'd probably have to add 40 or so pounds. And
does it matter? Does it matter if that's bricks or lead or feathers or just 40 pounds?
Well, you'd kind of want, I think you'd want to mount it like out where the cylinder heads stick out on the HP2, just for aesthetics.
Yeah, some sort of an extension arm out to the side with a heavy weight on the end of it on both sides to like a pontoon.
No, I don't know why you would want to modify the T7. Everything's gotten so much better. The HP2 was definitely a step in the right direction for adventure bikes. And it was crazy how much that they raked the bike out, because the bike that we used to develop HP2 was my actual last rally bike, my 900RR rally bike. When we went to the test with the prototype, that was the bike we were comparing it to. And that bike had another year of development in it, and kind of that's what the HP2 was. This was the direction the rally bike was going to go if BMW had not stopped doing it. But things have come so much farther from that. I don't think you're ever going to get that level of torque with a parallel twin in particular, and especially one that's down 200 cc's from my rally bike, or 400 cc's from the actual HP2, or 300 and something cc's. But they're really just different kind of kinds of monsters. I don't know that. I don't know why you'd want to. I don't know why. I mean, the low CG of the BMW motors is actually pretty cool. It's something I'm still a big fan of. I feel like what they've lost since that that engine, the HP2 era engine, BMW went to a more revvy, higher performance engine and lost some of that chug torque that I like. And of all the smaller displacement adventure bikes, that's I think what makes the Tenere super special, is that it has kind of like really good kind of torque, it's like torque with traction control built in, but it's not even traction control. It's just the way that cross-plane motor runs. So I don't know. You have much time on a T7?
Not really. We have one in the business. I just haven't ridden it myself personally. I have an 890 that kind of fills that niche, but I think it's a cool bike. We outfit a lot of them.
Yeah, it's and for me, with 790 and 890, that platform just for adventure bike, it's like too aggressive. It's just that little bit on the aggressive side where the the Tenere is definitely a step down, and the new Honda Transalp, which we're testing right now, is even kind of a step down more in the, we'll call it, comfort side.
Mm-hmm.
But interesting.
Yeah, it's just a funny question.
Yeah, well, I mean, people just they know the history. I should have put that picture up of the. I should figure out how to get that picture up on the thing. Next question.
Okay, this is from the kitchen technician. The motor is counterbalanced, just not to the level of KTM's. Never, ever bothers me on my. Do you know what we're talking about?
He's talking about a Beta 300. We just did a test on the Beta 300, and I'm still trying to find out the answer to this in particular, because I'm pretty sure the engine is not counterbalanced. It has the capacity to hold a counterbalancer inside of the Beta 2-stroke motor. I don't think it's in there, but I could be wrong. And if you've heard that it's counterbalanced, most motors are counterbalanced. The crank is a counterbalance. It's just the way they're designed. But I don't believe there's a counterbalancer in that motor. Okay.
You want to go on?
Yep.
Okay. So the motor is counterbalanced, just not to the level of KTM's. Never ever bothers me on my 2023 300RR. Sachs front forks on the Beta are perfect for the typical terrain the Beta is designed for. Kayaba front forks always seem too stiff on my 2WR 450 Yamahas. It's an enduro machine, not a desert racer. I'll agree with the tire observation though. Anytime I ride my friends' KTM 2-stroke TPI and TBIs, they always seem a little characterless compared to the Beta. There are tons of YouTube videos on these Betas that are, fortunately, more meat than filler, unlike this one is.
So I can't tell. Is that a compliment?
I can't tell. When I'm reading, I don't really even know what I'm reading out loud. Yeah, I don't even know.
No, you're reading
comprehension.
Well, it's good. This is how we taught Logan how to talk, our original co-host, by reading this stuff. And it's funny because he sounded like he didn't know how to read. Yeah. And then wait till you read some of these. Like, it's hard. It's really hard to read them because there's grammar and punctuation and interesting things, and people throw emojis in there and like, how the hell, what does that mean? And then they text to speech, or they use texting code. And I think so. It's funny because this is so he posted this on one of our videos that Trevor actually did. It's a first riding impression of the Beta, and I always say everybody's entitled to their opinion. They have an opinion, and your opinion's valid for you. And then how far you want to push it, that's where we kind of get there. Because when he says the KTMs are kind of characterless compared to the Beta, I've heard the exact opposite. Like, KTMs feel like they have character and Betas don't, and it sort of just depends on what you're defining as character. And right back to him on the forks, most people, I'd say the general consensus on the forks is the opposite of what he just said. Most people feel the Sachs is a little bit stiff for the trail riding, and the Kayabas tend to be a little bit better. But it's and we never know how this person has their bike set up or what kind of terrain they're riding. And we've seen people, they're literally, they call dual sport riding what we would call dual sport riding. They'll call that trail riding. And so it's kind of hard to communicate. That's the cool thing about some of the visual mediums we have now, where you get to see videos, on the onboard with the GoPros and stuff. You get to see where we're riding them, and you could say, okay, now I know why they think this bike looks
that makes
like
a lot of sense. Yeah.
We try to shoot videos that show the bikes, using their full suspension travel and jumping them and we try to show them doing all the things that they're expected to do, because we test them and kind of try to test them in a wide range. But but the counterbalancer thing, I'm pretty sure I'm right, or I wouldn't say it.
All right, you ready for another?
Yes.
All right, this is George Doolittle 9015.
See, Gronk says, "Wow, someone who actually likes the sax forks and betas." I like sax forks and betas, especially once you break them in. And the problem is most media guys, they hop on a beta. This is true. And it's not so much anymore because they've gotten a lot better. And because that people realized that they were good bikes because some people like us said they were good bikes, now they'll give them a little bit of time. But most of these bikes would come from beta. The magazines would have them. They'd ride them for 2 hours and send them back. And they look like they'd never been ridden. And the beta guys like, how the hell are we going to get these guys to ride these bikes more? Because they don't work until 15 hours. You know, the suspension starts breaking in. And I don't believe sax forks works until you service them once. You know, you get the crap oil that they come with or the contaminated oil that from the break-in. You got to get that stuff out of there and put something in that's now lubricating and smooth, and they actually work pretty good. So I agree with him on some points of this, but I also know how you can get them to work really good. You got to click them. So
reasonable people can disagree.
Yes.
Two people can look at the same set of facts and come to different conclusions.
Correct.
Okay, this is let's see. This is from George Doolittle 9015. No more Suzuki engine. Sad to see that go. Sounds like a good time to measure up against Suzuki as a consequence.
What do you mean no more Suzuki engine?
Engine. Sad to see that go. Sounds like a good time to measure up against Suzuki as a consequence.
I'm not sure what he was talking about on that one. That was a question was like a couple weeks old, so I was trying to get back to it. So,
all right, keep moving.
I think Suzuki's still making motors. Look at this. So Pete just put up a picture of. I'll allow the cookies. He's probably collecting my data. This is how we tested our rally bikes.
Wow.
Like that's like a lot higher than it was 100 and something foot tabletop jump.
What bike are you on there?
That's a rally factory KTM rally bike.
Cool.
It was we were they were trying to see if the frame would stretch. So I'm like, I'll jump it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. What does he have, a whole folder on me, Peter, in this file? Crazy. So okay. Next question.
Okay, let's see. Next question. This comes from RC56. Thanks for a review. Thought of one of these. Also, good deals on them. And as a first dirt bike, I was looking at a KTM 350 XCF. He's 6'2", 220 pounds, and 45. Not looking for big jump or motocross. Want to go on long rides, open trails. Is the 350 too aggressive of a bike, do you think? Maybe XCFW or this just to putt around at half the price?
So he's asking about the Honda CRF 250F, which is the now the CRF 300F.
Yep.
So so he's probably looking at an older one. So he's a 6'2", 230 pound dude.
Solid muscle.
Yeah, probably.
Solid muscle.
All just muscle.
Yep.
At that size, we're not worried about the bike size anymore. And the number one reason I see people going to those kind of play bikes and stuff like that is they feel like they can put their feet on the ground. And so the biggest difference for someone is that there's a little bit different power delivery. I don't think it's that much different. It's just more throttle response, but you'll get used to that pretty quick. You'll learn, what that's like. I mean, it's all in your wrist. It only goes as hard as you turn it. And I think very quickly you'll be turning that CRF 250F all the way and wish you had something like the KTM 350. And it's one of those things where it can be ridiculously intimidating, if you hop on it like the very first time. But as you get used to it, it's really not that bad. And I'm kind of the last guy that says you'll grow into a bike, but I always hate to see someone way under on the bike. We've had a couple people come to the class. In fact, I traded a KTM 525 to a guy for a CRF 250F because he was that size. And after the first half day in the class, I'm like, hey, you need a bike that fits you. So, if there's any chance you have buddies or friends or something that you can go and ride, get a chance to ride a couple of these different bikes, you may find that, and then it comes down to like, is this too aggressive? And when you go to a motocross bike, for sure it's going to be quite an aggressive power band for trail riding, but more so, they have tall first gears. Like their first gear is not meant to go on single track trails. It's meant to go around a really sharp turn on a motocross track, which means you're just feather in the clutch and then shifting. And you try to ride up a rocky trail with a tall first gear motocross bike and you wonder why the radiator's steaming because you built up all the heat through the clutch, and there we go. And that's a hard thing to change because if you gear it to make first gear good, then your fifth or sixth gear is too low and you're going down the roads going 45 miles an hour with the throttle pinned. So that's a interesting one. Okay, next.
Max Flight 777. I like Jimmy Lewis. That's what he just wants to let you know. He's a fan.
I put these in there so I can pat myself on the back.
Oh, you selected these?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Does Max Flight 777 even exist really, or did you just make that up?
No, he really exists.
He does. Okay.
Yeah.
You got a fan.
A couple of them. Yeah.
He came back again and said, "I love you guys." Same guy.
Well, that's getting kind of weird because I liked it better when he just liked me, and now he loves us guys, which means like Trevor and Scott, the other guys that do dirt bike test. So, well, thanks for nothing. Okay.
Thanks, Max.
Yeah.
Yes, David. Yes. Dirt bike test reply, man. Please reply. That's part of the same. That's Max again. I think that's just a continuation of his love you guys.
Oh no, that's another.
That's another user.
That's another user. Yeah.
Yeah. Post.
Yeah. Please reply. Test. Please reply. Oh, we just did. Okay, good. You got your wish.
Replied. Check. Oh. Joshua Arney to me. I'm confused. Oh, just checking to make sure I didn't miss the bus on these shirts. Haven't received my invoice yet. Thanks, man. That's from Joshua Arney.
Well, Josh, you got your shirt, and the shirts are done. If you didn't get them, they're gone. So, but yeah, I remember his name as one of the people that I sent an invoice to, and I mean, I was amazed. Almost everybody paid. I thought for sure like half the people are just going to flake on it, but they all paid the invoices, and the shirts will get the orders going in tomorrow. So your shirts are on your way. I don't know if Santa Claus is going to bring them, but you can. Oh, you know what you can do, Pete? You can actually superimpose your picture onto the show, and then we can. Where is it? I lost it. There it is. And then you can get a T-shirt just like that.
Sweet.
So we look like twins almost now.
Yeah. Except for my muscle, all those muscles that you gave me in this thing.
So shirts are on the way. But if you need one for Christmas, take a picture of that and then just like print it up and then just tape it onto your shirt. That's what I would do.
Yeah, good idea.
Sounds like it works.
Yeah, you could actually just wear the same shirt every day with different things taped to it. Nobody would ever know.
I'm getting a Tech Talk Taco T-shirt. Hey, thanks for the support. I do really appreciate it. Right until I found out how much work it was to be a merch dealer. It's almost, if you're going to go to the level of having merch, you might as well start a company.
Yeah. Welcome to my world.
Right.
Okay, this is Super Disco 199. Super Disco.
Right.
Good stuff. Good to see you reviewing a bike with a bit more widespread appeal versus bikes like CRF, RXs, etc. Didn't expect the low end to be weak. It's got the dual spark tech, doesn't it? Having to adjust the clickers to suit the trail is a strong indicator to me that they made the chassis a bit too rigid, which is why the race models always get revalved.
So he's talking about the Beta 300 also. So usually these the comments and stuff and questions are off of the videos that we released during the course of the last week. So we usually do a couple videos a week. And if you're curious about bike, I mean, it's amazing how much the weird bikes get the traffic. Like our KTM, you will get, like 4,000 views, and the Beta will get 30, and the Cove gets 100.
Is that because there's fewer reviews out there, so you're getting all of the traffic?
I don't know. I think it's just people are kind of curious about stuff they don't know about.
Right,
I mean,
that's what they're Googling.
They're Googling it, and we get a lot of organic, pick up a lot of organic search. And then I think when people start like seeing, because a lot of the manufacturers get these influencers that hey, look at me, I'm riding this bike and I'm pretty and and they're doing stuff, but they don't say anything. They don't break it down and try to explain how it works and stuff. And so that's what I think he's kind of talking about there. The what was the kind of the question part of it? It was just it was no, it does not have. We do not have the dual spark head. So that's a new thing that Beta is doing. So they're putting it's actually nothing new. It's old, but they're putting a second spark plug in the cylinder head of a 2-stroke to just get better combustion, which will it's basically to compete with KTM, because KTM has the fuel injection. The fuel injection, you can bog those bikes down so low, and then they still kind of come alive. Where I believe that they found that if they put a second spark plug in there, it just gives it a lot better throttle response, and I don't think it's going to do much for peak power and stuff, but for rideability. But another thing that I saw this weekend is, are you familiar with a company called TM?
Yeah.
So TM makes they're famous for their kart motors and stuff, but they make a lot of race bikes and stuff. And a lot of the guys that were at this King of the Motos things, Justin Leineweber, who is the promoter of the race, he rides a TM. Man, what tractors those things are, and carbureted or fuel injected, they have both. But the thing that the TM has, that the KCM also has, is the electronic power valve. And you can tell that they've figured out how to make that electronic power valve make those bikes just lug and grunt like it's. It was crazy to hear those things. You could really hear them kind of just going like lower than KTM's, which made me very interested. So
Yeah, I've never ridden one. I've just seen them.
yeah, they're trick and handmade, and you used to spend all the time. You never ride them; you just jet them. You just used to jet them all the time. But now they're fuel injected, so you don't have to.
All right, you ready for Malky 525? Fit a fan. DRZ 400s come. The DRZ 400 comes with one, I'm pretty sure.
So
That's with regard to radiator guard.
Right. So radiator guards. So there's a video up on the site where we talk about radiator guards, good or bad. If you like spending money, a lot of money, then don't buy them. But if you want to spend a little bit of money and not have to buy radiators in the future, then buy them. That was kind of the gist of that. And if you ride where I ride, if you fall over, sometimes your bike lands on a rock. Actually, I have a really good video of one of the guys that took my class. We went out riding afterwards, and there was this gnarly rock wall. It was a drop in, a square edge rock, and then probably a one bike length before you had to go up a wall that was, a rock wall that had grease and oil on it from all the cars driving up it, that was 8-9 feet up at a pretty steep angle. Like you have to have your drive, and you have to float up it. And I didn't do it. I wasn't going to do it because I was riding a heavier 4-stroke, and I don't even think I would have done it anyways. But we were working on all the balance stuff, right? And I said the problem is the rock that you're going to hit down at the bottom is going to knock you a little bit out of balance, and then you got to have it right when you're trying to get drive, you're going to drive into that rock, and then it's going to send you down, not up. And so you have to kind of be real patient. So when you get over that rock, then you do your acceleration. He did the acceleration, and he didn't feel like it was enough. It was enough to get his bike up, and his bike went up. And he got halfway up and said, forget it, and jumped off the back. But his bike went up, landed on its two wheels, actually bounced and rolled straight, and then finally fell over.
That's a win.
And,
you got the bike up.
I'm like, you were balanced the whole time. And so we're doing good on the riding part. It's just getting that little extra bit of traction to go up there. But the way his bike landed, it just fell over. There was it's in Boulder Field, and it just barely. I mean, I thought for sure we were going to see oil coming out of a completely smashed pipe, but it just fell just right. But had it fallen a little bit farther back, the rock would have just punched the radiator, and that's folded up radiator. If you have a good guard, it'll take most of the hit out of that. And so I always say get them when the bike's new, because the really good ones are really tight fits and they hold the radiator together, and you're going to save yourself some money. And a cooling fan is always a good thing too. Pro Moto Billet. So bad. Bulletproof Designs. Pro Moto Billet makes good stuff too, but Bulletproof Designs makes excellent radiator guards. I just fitted them on my WR450, and that's the only reason I was riding that big heavy 4-stroke on the extreme rocks, is because I had the radiator guards on there, plus the disc brake, the rear disc guard, and my chain guide guard, and so I felt comfortable smashing it into rocks.
Next one.
Next,
JDM 1200. How do you think the KX 450X would fare in the tighter enduros in the south and east?
About as good as any other 4-stroke MX bike. would. And when I think it's on the same lines. Actually, it's pretty aggressive. It and the Honda RX, the Kawasaki and the Honda are pretty aggressive, even though they come with couplers and different ignition curves and stuff like that that tame them down. They're still kind of on the aggressive side. I would, if it was me, I would tend to lean. Of course, Yamaha sponsors this show, the YZ450FX, and I'm being absolutely serious about that because I think there's some characteristics of the Yamaha that make it better in the tighter stuff. And then even the KTM 450, although it just doesn't have the same features that some of the other bikes have, it's also pretty aggressive. But I think just the I haven't ridden the new one, but the older ones tended to be a little bit better than the Honda and the Kawasaki. And then there's always that 350. There's always a 350 and that's why the guys that are winning the GNCCs are riding 350s. So.
Okie doke. Michelle Latour 150. It says, the other dirt bike channels should take notice of this style of review. No annoying loud music added for excitement. Lots of helpful technical details and long-term durability infos discussed.
Thank you. And he's talking about our KX. So a lot of these are the KX 450X. We spent a year on one. Trevor, one of the kids that does a lot of the testing for us, raced it all year. Pretty good video. But I'm just going to beat on Trevor here. He repeats himself way too much in that video. So if you're one of those people that like feels like you need to be in school and they need to say things 3 times, like Trevor does that for you. So you'll remember everything he says. So you were really happy with that video, and I called him up and told him how to do it. But then he should probably just have said, "Why don't you do it then?" Next one.
All right, but he's going. Ron Maurer 3694 is making it tough on me here. Let me see if I can get this one out.
Oh, here we go.
Love the 23 KX 450. I'm a hill climber with a K, and believe me, look up Dirt Lert's TV. We kill the hills. He kills the hills. So
he kills it. What is it called?
It's called Dirt Lert's TV.
Shout out to Dirt Lert's TV.
Yep, he's a hill climber.
You think that's how it's spelled?
Look it up.
You know what? Because I'm not sure. It's kind of Dirt Lert's.
Lert's is with a Z.
Lert's. Dirt
Lert's TV.
DIRTLURT. Go to Dirt Lert's and check out his sick hill climbs. Bro.
Ron is a good hill climber. He kills the hills.
Kills the hills.
Kills the hills.
On his 23 KX 450X.
No little baby shite here, he says.
Okay, send it, bro. I mean, send us the videos so we can play them. I want to see the killing hills.
Mean Green, Team Green all day. He's doing easy. This is serious business.
Yeah.
But I do love the other bikes as well. Just park to TG. I don't know what that means. Maybe like partial
to Team Green.
To Team Green.
Right.
Oh, Team Green. Oh, Team Green. I got it. I get it. See, I always told you it was challenging.
You're going to catch up on this lingo.
That's great. Yeah.
Dirt Lert's.
I can't read and think at the same time. It's impossible.
Some people say I can't walk and do anything.
I can't do any 2 things at the same time.
Right. And I'm trying to get you to do 4 things on your dirt bike. You did pretty good for not being able to do that. Just don't put any reading material on your damn dashboard.
Yeah, exactly.
Good, right? Okay.
Yep. Mean Green, Team Green all day. Kill the hills. No little baby shite here.
Okay.
Thanks, Ron. Okay, Randy Cox. Glad to hear the KX 450X did good for you guys also. My 2022 has been bulletproof. Now I don't ride as fast or hard as you, but I've had no issues. I've had 0 issues with the stock plastic either. Been great and have not cracked, broke, chipped, or anything. Think a leaky fork seal is literally the only thing I've had go wrong with it.
So that's amazing. And like when Trevor, it's kind of funny because he's it's so hard to say mean things about when companies and brands are giving you bikes to ride and test and they're supporting you with parts and all these things like that. And what he really wants to say, and he says it. He says, "Well, it's like 1% off of the best." He kind of said that line, and what he's meaning there is I'm kind of there with him on this as well. Like right now, like the Hondas and the KTMs and the Yamahas are kind of the top of the list for like quality and stuff, and the Kawasaki's and the Suzuki's are just one notch down. And it's sometimes, and Kawasaki about 5 or 6 years ago made a concerted effort to start like making their fasteners a little bit better. Just the way the fasteners were attaching, the way that the if the bolt was on the back of the seat, they went up a size, so it wasn't a little tiny 8mm, 6mm thread. They went to an 8mm thread for something that's going to be in and out all the time. And they've definitely kind of upped the game. They've done a much better job, but still there's some little things on those bikes that I don't want to say it's just not as sano, and it's somehow that not as sano just leads to it somehow not being as tight. Like I rode the bike that he did like the day before, literally the last time we went out and rode it, and I was pretty blown away because I knew how much he raced it. His 90 hours on that motorcycle was like 250 hours of me riding it, because he's racing it and riding it hard and pulling hole shots like crazy. There's videos there's a couple videos of him pulling these big old hole shots against other pro riders on this basically stock motorcycle. So they're really good bikes, and I think that 1% of durability, does it make a difference? If you're hard on equipment, you're not a good mechanic. It doesn't matter what you're on, you're going to thrash stuff. If you're that kind of person and you've had bad luck with a certain brand, try another brand and see if it changes. Like try a brand that's known to be better and see if it changes, and then decide whether it's you or the brand, before you kind of make these kind of judgment calls. But we try to treat everything the same. The other thing that pissed me off is he let Kawasaki have that bike back after we did a big comparison with it, and they threw a top end in it. I mean, they have parts, they can do it. They want to make sure it's fresh and bitching for us. And I wish he would have run it the whole 100 hours. And then I like to take the bike apart and really look at it and see how things are holding up. Does it need a piston at this point? And usually when we do that, we get all the parts and we rebuild it and give them back a nicely rebuilt bike. But you can see, what's wearing and what's not. But I suspect they're good for, 200, 300 hours at a competition bike before you even have to start. I mean, yeah, you're going to put some clutches in it because that's just the nature of the beast. But I don't think you need to be doing valve jobs and top ends that regularly.
Okay, you ready for another?
Okay,
Isaiah Woodbury, 5205. Weird how they say it feels lighter when it actually gained 5 pounds. I think about a WR.
No, that's actually the KX450. That's the new KX450. And you know why we said that? Because it's true. This is why you're watching our videos. And it's not weird that we said that, and it's not strange. This has happened a lot of times. Bikes gain weight, but they learn some stuff about the handling that allows the bike to handle more nimble, feel lighter. Like the scale weight is one thing, but how the bike feels is another. Until you're kind of crashing or having to pick it up off the ground, the scale weight doesn't make a whole lot of difference to me. I like to ride the bike and then weigh it before I know a lot of people ask what it weighs, and they go, 5 pounds heavier. And then they say, it's 5 pounds heavier. Well, how does it ride? Because that KX450 feels like it lost 10, not gained 5. I think I gave it another number the day after I rode it, but the reason I said that on camera was so I didn't have to remember it anymore. Kind of like this whole show. I like to forget it when I'm done.
You're doing great, man.
You know what the best part of the show is?
What's that?
When it's over.
You're having fun. Yeah, I can tell you're having fun.
No, I enjoy it. Hey, we got Rooster Endo coming up, so everybody's going to sleep. There's still 68 people, like literally somehow live watching this. How many people are out there for Rooster Endo, by the way? And I'm not going to get to the rest of the things. Stu Peters was not the owner of Carlsbad, by the way. It was Grismer or something like that. Mark Daniels. So, okay, next question.
Let's see. Okay, this is from Bugs7425. How does the bike compare to the FE 501 or 500 EXC for dual sport riding? Is the 5-gear ratio the same as the 6-gear on the Husky KTM?
So he's asking about the Yamaha WR450. Yamaha has the best 5-speed gearbox in the business. Okay? Would it be better as a 6-speed? That's debatable, but I say yes. But it is, and I'm not saying this because Yamaha is a sponsor. I'm saying this because it's true. They spent a lot of time working on those gear ratios, and it's really, really good. I think it's a little bit lower than the 6th gear in the bikes you referred to, the Husky and the KTM. It's a tad bit lower, but I mean, if you're kind of doing like Baja stuff, I think the 1st gear in the Yamaha is better than the KTM and the Husky for 99% of the stuff. But if you need a really low 1st gear or a really tall 6th gear, the Austrian platforms have that, but I just don't think that the gaps are as good as the Yamaha. So
Okay, this is
Tenere.
Tenere. This is 2 wheels are better than 4. Could you share the suspension settings that Yamaha set you up with?
So he's asked. We just did a brand new Tenere intro. Yamaha did not change that bike, and there's going to be another question about this in a second that comes up that confuses me. But Yamaha didn't change that bike, so the settings that I put up there in my Tenere vlog, I've done a kind of a vlog on my Tenere, although I've been absent from doing that because haven't been riding it that much. I've been riding other bikes because I'm testing them. But I did a thing on the stock suspension, like this, the ideal settings that I came up with, and so that's Scott said all they did was the suspension settings were stock, and all they did was adjust the ride height for the media ride. He said they just didn't have time to stop and play around with it, which meant he was too busy getting photos. But you got some pretty good photos.
Next one. Mm-hmm. All right, this is Ginger Bolam. Flashing this bike really brings out the power. If you want to unleash the beast, literally, is like riding a whole new bike after it gets flashed, but that goes for pretty much all Yamahas.
I disagree because I have a Tenere and I had it flashed, and I'm actually not really that impressed with it. I need to do more because I bought, like, whatever the company that did it, I bought unlimited reflashes from them. And I just haven't had time to communicate back. But I will tell you, I am still running the stock exhaust with the cat in it. And if you want to unleash the beast, typically you take the cat out and you put a freer flowing, which usually means louder, which I don't like, exhaust on the bike. And then most of the time when you unleash the beast, you lose drivability, which I respect. I respect the traction and stuff. And so, what's his name?
Ginger. Bolam.
So Ginger. So the next time that your throttle is like, you know, when your throttle is like you're pulling on it and it won't open anymore. Do you know that feeling? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you're giving it all.
Yeah, you're on your Tenere. Just Tenere or any bike. Oh, your KTM 790, 890, right? Yeah. You know the time when you're on it and you're you're holding it wide open, and you wish it would go farther. Do you know that time?
I don't really. That doesn't happen to me very much.
It doesn't.
No.
I'm not a better. I'm not
does that happen to other people?
Well, some people say I'm a really good rider, and on my Tenere, I don't have that experience that much because if I want to unleash the beast, I usually go from where I'm at the throttle and I just turn it a little bit farther, and it unleashes the beast.
Right.
Yeah. Almost.
You're always rarely maxed on throttle.
And usually if I ever get to that point where the throttle is like, I'm stretching the cables, as I say, I'm stretching the cables. Then I let the revs go up, and then it goes even more. Then the more beast comes out. But the flashing thing, I did it mostly for some drivability issues that I had. It was kind of emissions related, where I was kind of feeling that the bike would, if I did a couple quick blips of throttle to kind of adjust the attitude of the bike, it seemed like the bike said, no, I'm not going to put that much fuel into the motor right now, and we're trying to adjust that. But that's not unleashing the beast. But this is what I'm trying to work on. And there's somebody's going to send me some tools that I can work with also. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to unleash the beast, but make sure that's what you want to do because the beast might come back to bite you.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good soundbite right there.
Yeah, the beast.
Watch out for the beast. Be careful what you wish for.
Remember when I had a kid that used to like take the? I'm talking to the computer right now. Remember when I used to have a kid that used to take the nuggets out of the show and put them and make little nuggets and put them on the Instagrams and the YouTubes and stuff to get us more views?
Oh yeah,
yeah. That guy should have pulled that nugget right.
Right.
There.
That would have been that's what a clippable moment, as they call it.
They call it clippable. We call them nuggets.
Yeah, nugget.
World, yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Let's see where we at here. Okay, we're
going to get to Roost or Endo. You don't have to go anyplace, do you?
No, just back to my trailer in your backyard.
Okay, got it. Just checking.
the
Roost or Endo segment gets fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm having a good time.
I know the reading the question.
I don't understand half of this stuff, but I'm having fun.
The side effect of watching and pay attention to the shows, you actually may learn something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
What? Okay. Let's see where are we at here. Oh, this is from YouTube account 9058. YouTube account. What an interesting name.
It's an AI Oh, no, I don't want to go into AI right now.
Yeah. Well, 9,057 people used it before this person. So it seems like most of this is about the bike being too rigid and twitchy. Honestly, if you rode the stock 23 next to a previous model, would you not prefer the older one?
So he's talking about the KTMs. Let's see. Unless you're a former Supercross champion that's complaining about his bike because you're not performing as much as you should, or you are a very influential influencer, in other words, another magazine editor that kind of is going down that trail because that seems like what it's supposed to do. I don't know. I haven't ridden those bikes. I have not personally ridden them. Trevor has, and he actually kind of thought they were he thought they were soft. And then I'm like, are you sure? And because he comes from a more racing background. And so it's interesting how it's the same thing. It's how people perceive this kind of stuff. I can't comment on it specifically, but it just seems like that's the direction that the influencers have taken. They've said that the chassis is stiff, and I don't know that it's. I did ride a couple of them, and I didn't find that to be the case. Like right away, it didn't stand out, and usually the stiff chassis usually stands out to me right away, and it didn't come through in that, but that's where the chatter is at. So I don't think so.
Okay, this next one is from
Cove 450.
Oh, this is the Cove 450. Okay, Shlomo Goldberg, USA. So can we say this bike is pretty good?
You know what? You can say whatever you want. I do.
Nice.
I said the Cove was pretty good in our video.
That was another clippable moment right there.
Yeah. I'll get my guy right on it. He's got it. The guy has to ship all these T-shirts out pretty soon. It's going to be taxing. The guy may get fired from the HR department too. When the HR department reviews what I said earlier, especially when I left the mics hot during the commercials. I know you don't watch the commercials, but if you listen to the commercials, this is subliminal advertising. You might hear something better. Okay.
Yeah, you should leave a hot mic all the time.
Hot mic. And people are like, what's he going to say in the commercial?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to use that as my selling point when I go back, because right now is negotiating time with all my my partners. I'm getting dropped like flies, but it's okay. I'll get somebody else.
Okay, let's see. This is Mike Kmet.
Kmet was a huge rock station in the Los Angeles area in the 70s.
Whoa!
It was the king of rock.
Back when people listened to radio.
KLOS 95.5 and KMET 94.7. They were the competing rock stations, and Mike knows this.
Whoa! Oh, okay. You know Mike.
He's a regular on the show.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because I wondered about his name, and I'm like, that has to be.
That's okay.
It was like. Remember when there was a certain age when everybody had a certain bumper sticker?
Yeah.
Like you either listened to KLOS or you listened to KMET.
And that meant something.
And it meant something.
Yeah.
And it's like a real recognizable logo if you're from the Los Angeles area.
Got it. Nice. All right. Well, he says Triumph MX should have brought Willie into the team if they could have. Epic show. Never knew Willie's depth in the industry. Moto genius. Well done on mention of Rick. He changed moto journalism single-handed. BH, before Hunky, it was Cycle Guide, Popular Cycling, Cycle World, good mags, but so straight-laced. Super Hunky was us, and funny as hell. Funny as hell.
Yeah.
Good memories of Jody W. writing, too.
Yeah, so this guy has a long history in he's dating himself by saying all that stuff. And the only reason I know a lot of those magazines that he talked about, the Popular Cycling and stuff like that, is because I worked at Cycle World, and I was almost... because I was around so much history that publishing group, it was a Hachette owned it, and it was something that Joe Parkhurst, who's the original publisher of those magazines, they had such a foundation in the history. I got to learn a lot of it because I'm really not as I wasn't as involved in the history that I know about, but I got to be around the old dudes like I am now. Like I got to be around like when I was 20, I got to be around like 50-year-old dudes like me that would teach me something, and I appreciate it now more than ever. Back then I was just like, yeah, old diet guy, whatever. But now I realize who these guys were I was standing next to. These are the guys that rode the first Baja 1000s. These were guys that tried to set land speed records and motorcycle distance things, not pre-iron, but around courses and stuff, and just it was such an interesting group of stuff. But I was also very influenced. I had personal experience with Rick Simon, who passed away, unfortunately. There's a book underneath if you want to hold up that book. This is the Monkey Butt. And so if you want to know about the history of dirt bike and motorcycle journalism, this is it. And I've threatened many times, and I still claim I really am going to do it. I'm going to ride Monkey Butt 2. I'm going to write Monkey Butt 2. Because like when Rick stopped, look at the size of the print in there. So you can read it when you're old. That's the great yellow dirt bike truck. Amazing. When Rick stopped is when I started. Like literally that's and I can talk about the death of motorcycle journalism, which will be Monkey Butt too. But anyhow, I've been around all these people, but his statement there is Triumph MX should have brought Willie into Willie hasn't been riding for, I think he said 8 years or something. I threatened to go trail riding with Willie. I want to get him back out to because it was an awesome show. He was a competing magazine test rider. So at that day, like when I'm riding that ATK, he probably worked at ATK, probably assembled that motorcycle, and he was also there for Motocross Action trying to shoot a very similar photo on the another test bike. But that's what we used to kind of do the same things, and then we'd race against each other on the weekend. And we came from different kind of types of racing, but at the local races, we would always kind of compete. And pretty cool. But yeah, good show. If we missed it, we messed up a little bit, but you can listen to it in podcast form. Because who wants to watch us for 2 hours?
All right, this is the last one in the stack here.
Okay, well, then we got Roost or Endo.
Tony Worth, 218. Enjoying the redo. Back in 1994, I rode a buddy's 1993 CR250. Bought a 1995 as soon as they were out, and it was one of those bikes that really sucked. Nice. MXA was the only magazine that called a turd a turd.
Okay.
It was a good bike after a complete race tech upgrade on both ends.
Yeah. It's funny because I'm trying to. So that was a little bit before I was riding the big. What do you say? 93, 93, 95. Those
95.
are the pink ones. Oh, I was riding those bikes. 93 was good. You should talk to Jeremy McGrath. He was winning Supercross champions in those things, and he I don't know. Hey, it's the ass in the seat and the hand on the throttle that makes all the difference, right? How they work for you. So, good. Oh, if you thought reading the questions was hard,
Oh boy.
you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna take a quick commercial break. We're gonna go ahead and do that.
Are we gonna turn the mics off this time or say some weird shit?
I don't know. You're gonna have to listen and find out what we actually do. But we're gonna take a quick little break. We'll be back with a Roost or Endo.
The defending champion,
You think they're listening
all
to us?
new Yamaha
No, I think they're off for sure.
YZ450F.
What's up, Moto Buddies? Mike here from Taco Moto Co. What is the Taco Touch? It's the best service in the industry. Virtually 24/7 tech support via email or text, and it's like having a dirt bike doctor on call every day of the year, helping you fix your bike or recommend parts or setups for you. If you've ever received an order from us, you know that the Taco Touch extends to our fulfillment, and our orders come with the coolest stickers that you've ever had, buying parts from anybody before, and a handful of root beer barrel candies. All of our Taco Moto co-branded components come with a no questions asked lifetime warranty, and we'll even extend out the warranty of other manufacturers, OEM, and aftermarket parts where we can, sometimes for life. We test and tune endlessly and exhaustively and obsessively. We're trying to destroy everything that we can before you get your hands on it to look for weaknesses and to improve it, or to make recommendations to the manufacturer. And if it's something that doesn't meet grade, then we don't offer it on the store. Everything that we carry is something that we have personally used, tested, and ridden, and raced, and knows meets the high Taco Touch demanding standard. Go out and get some adventure.
Careful with what we say. Yeah, nothing inappropriate. Boots. No, French handlebars, man. And we are back. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Like I say, support those that support this sport and this show specifically. This is everybody's favorite segment. It's called Roost or Endo. Oh, you know what that sound is? Oh,
Yeah, it's from a song.
Yeah,
I can't remember. 90s song.
Okay, we are Roost or Endoing it here, pushing buttons like we're going out of style. I'm with Pete Dave from Mosko Moto. Follow Pete on the Instagrams, right?
Yeah.
We've had a couple of our people in the chat say they very much enjoy following your Instagram. What is it?
Well, we got 2 Instagrams. We got the company, that's at Mosko Moto. And then you can follow me personally. I'm at Mosko Pete. And it's different. You know, follow the company, follow me. We post different stuff.
Is one less professional than the other?
Yeah, you know, some people like to follow a person, some people like to follow a company, some follow both. The stuff I post on my personal Insta, that's all my stuff, my trips I'm on or gear I'm testing or whatever.
Right.
And then, of course, Mosko's got lots of other content too.
Yeah, that's like my personal Instagram is definitely not my school's Instagram. Or dirt bike test. They kind of like the school is kind of kept in high regard.
Yeah.
Dirt bike test, we have fun with it, but there's a lot of cool dirt bike stuff. And then Jimmy Lewis is just a shit show.
Yeah, I know. I don't do anything raunchy on my Instagram. You got to follow me on OnlyFans if you want to see my raunchy stuff. My nudes.
Oh, you don't? I'm not going to tell you my OnlyFans ideal. You'll steal it, dude. We had this meeting at Tour Tech, and I mean, just with the staff after like 17 beers, the high alcohol ones.
You got a plan?
I had an OnlyFans idea, and they made it even better.
All right, so, I can't wait.
Oh yeah, I want to stay married.
So you need me to steal that idea?
No, no. Well, it's not going to really get me in trouble, but it could. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't do anything that would technically get me in trouble, but just the perception would be really bad. So back to the show. Okay. So welcome to Rooster Endo, everybody. One of these days, I'm going to get a theme song and all that stuff for it. But so what we do, Rooster Endo, is you send us a picture of your bike. You tell us what you did to your bike in whatever way you want to, and then basically we tell you whether your bike roosts or endos, and we try to learn something from this. So who's our first contestant?
All right, Michael Cox is first. He's got a 2016 Husky TE300.
Okay, there's his photo up on the thing, and you're going to start listing.
All right,
off
I'm going to go through this. We got flex bars, Midwest.
Sponsor?
Yep, nice.
See, I told you.
Yep,
they're gonna go right down sponsor avenue.
Smart, game the system.
Yeah,
good job, Michael.
Got it.
Midwest Mountain Engineering, Easy Pull Clutch, OD Rogue Grips, Cycler Pro Bend Wraparound Handguards, Cyclops Trail Boss Pro Headlight, powered by Trail Tech High Output Stator.
Yes.
Bulletproof Designs Radiator Guards, we talked about those.
Yes.
Tusk Oversized Foot Pegs, Lectron Power Jet Carb, FMF Gnarly Pipe, FMF Turbine Core 2.1 Muffler, Bridgestone M59 Front with tube.
Okay.
It's got a tube. Kenda Equilibrium with tubeless in the rear. Tubeless on the back, tube on the front.
Yep.
Rear disc guard, 500 plus hours, still running strong.
Right. So there's his bike in a very beautiful forest. He's got the headlight on.
I like this
I
scenery.
wonder, you see how the light's coming through the trees there and stuff?
Yeah.
Do you think that's two-stroke smoke? That's like caused that lighting thing?
Caused that, I don't know. But if so, that's very artful.
Yeah.
Very artful, Michael.
It is a nice photo. I mean, I want to ride that trail. That looks like an awesome trail.
I agree. It's beautiful.
Would you hop the log that's on the side?
On someone else's bike, sure.
on Michael's bike.
Just kidding. Yeah, I would do it. Yeah.
I'm liking the bike.
But somebody's cleared the trail. They've cut the logs. I like that. That's nice.
Yep.
Somebody's already been through there in the spring.
Yep. Those look like they were cut a long time ago, but good job. I don't really have it. Usually I can find some bad things, and I'm not finding. I mean, he worked with the backlight. A little hard to see the bike exactly, but I'm happy with it. Just look at the dampness of the. It might be a little slippery, and that's why he's running the low pressure and he's got his things. But yeah, good bike. I'm gonna go. It's strange. I'm going to start off on a positive note. I'm going to start off with a Roost. What do you say, Roost?
I don't want to give anybody an Endo on their bike. I'm too nice. And I like this guy because he's got a trail. I actually at the moment have a tubeless. I just switched from the tubeless, but I had a tubeless rear tube front too, so I feel like we're kindred spirits. Okay. I had that for a while.
Got it.
I love that low pressure on the back. So
you're gonna go Roost also.
Yeah, hey, 500 hours going. I just like I like his vibe.
If you're that nice, I'm gonna put a pause on the show and I'm gonna go down the street and drive around until I find somebody I can pick up and bring them in here, and I'll tell them, hey, for a couple.
You need somebody who does endos.
A couple Old English 800s. You start capping on these bikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want me to go? Okay. If I see one I really don't like, I'll say it. But
okay. Michael Roost.
Wow. Good job, Michael. Way to start. Okay. Do we have a name on this?
It's probably on the top of the other page. I can compare it to the photos that we have. I think it's Alex. And is that it? Nope, it's not that one. Is it this one? Nope, it's not that one. It's this one? Nope, not that one. It's it's the last.
Oh.
Chris K. No, he better be in there. That's not it.
Go back through him again real quick.
That's not it. That's not it. That's the one we just did.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Yep.
There we go.
Okay, you ready?
David
Who's this? David Fond. Okay, David Fond's got a 2018 KTM 300W, 968 hours, 18,345 miles. Wait, what bike is it? It's a 300?
It's a 300. So this is the second two-stroke past 500 hours. You know that they...
way past.
Yeah, and nobody knew this. Like, everybody started complaining about KTM putting the clay pistons in them a couple of years ago, but they've been doing this for many years. I mean, they haven't changed the piston, so obviously that clay piston can, run a long time.
Bought the bike as a 250 new. It was started as a 250. 3 top ends. It's getting bigger. 3 top ends and 1 bottom 300 jug. Moose in front and rear. Seat Concepts tall comfort seat. We like that. I'm tall. I like comfort. FMF gnarly. FMF 2.1. How do you say this again? Acerbis, Acerbis, Acerbi?
Acerbis.
Acerbis.
A chair B's.
A chair B's. Thank you.
Acerbis.
Thank you for. Yeah. I'm probably not the only one out there who says
No. I have a shirt that has a chair. It has A and a chair and some B's on it.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
3.1 tank, SXS handguards, KTM fan. Steel MS 194. Oh, he's got a chainsaw. Oh, he's got a chainsaw on there. I didn't even see that.
Oh, you didn't see that? That's the selling point.
This guy's a badass. Yeah. He's already and he's clearing trails for us.
Of course.
We could never endo a bike for a guy that's clearing trails, man.
Well, you just wait.
Orvis 7-piece. He's got a fly rod. He's got an Orvis 7-piece 5-weight fly rod. I really enjoy finding lakes and small streams in the Colorado high country and fish using my 300 for access. Dude, Roost for sure. I'm the president of CBTRA in the Roaring Fork Valley and really dig your podcast. Keep up the good work and the salty attitude.
Right. Thank you. See, he's poking the bear. He's trying to get an endo out of me.
You think he's just playing to your ego here and he's just trying to get...
some people try to do that. Sometimes it works. I just zoomed in on that chainsaw. He's got the still... It looks like MS 182, and I know a lot we chainsaws because I used to be in the firewood biz, and I do a little bit of trail cutting.
So is that a good one?
That's a good one if you're going to carry a little. We started carrying electric ones and batteries, and just because they're so quick and easy. If you're going to do a lot of work, you do go back to gas. If you're going to do some big trail clearing, but
dude, this guy's put in 1,000 hours on this bike. He's out there carrying a chainsaw around, so some other people don't have to. Clearing trails, catching fish.
Yep.
He's literally out there like foraging and fishing and hunting and gathering food.
Is he a Mosko Moto wearing kind of guy.
I would like to think so. And
Or
if not, let's talk. Let's talk,
yeah.
David. We got to get you in some Mosko gear.
Yeah, I'd say he's probably wearing Climb right now, but you might be able to talk him out of it.
That's all right. We like Climb too. Can't we all be brothers?
Yeah, we can all try to be friends. You can wear stuff out and try the next. Just like you like to switch bikes every time. It's like I want to try different. You can try different gear.
Try
companies.
something
It's cool.
new, man. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going with a full Roost for A, longevity, B. The only thing I don't like about it is he's still on a carb bike. I mean, dude.
Well,
you deserve. Did he say Trail Tech fan? By the way,
let's be clear. I'm not buying this bike. This bike has been ridden like a motherfucker.
well, he's got his money out of it, and he'd probably sell it cheap to some other guy. You know, when you're out working on the trails, and there's always a guy with a super clapped out bike that is there with you. Like you should sell the bike to him cheap and just move on. Go fuel injected.
Yeah. So that it's done 1,000 hours trail clearing and catching fish.
Right.
18,000 miles. Good man.
I'm going with Roost.
Roost
also.
for sure.
Yep. Did he say Trail Tech fan?
Oh, KTM fan.
KTM fan. Okay, because it has I can see the little Trail Tech, the temperature gauge down there on the radiator. And sometimes when you're cutting those trails, those bikes get hot. So, okay, next up,
we got Alex Vaudrain. Pick of my 2019. You gonna pull this up?
Hey, Aaron Jones says, I love my Reckless 80. Awesome products, Pete.
Right on. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks for
Okay,
the support.
So what's our guy
Cheers.
here? Aaron Jones?
Alex Vaudrain.
Alex Vaudrain. Got him right here.
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, we got a 19 CRF 450L for Taco Tuesday. Bought the bike in September with 600 miles, just clicked over 2,000 miles of New England trails. Pick was taken on the Hot Chog.
Do you know how long it takes to get 2,000 miles in New England on trails?
That's all the trails in New
That's all
England
the
twice.
trails. Yeah. Yeah. So good on you.
Good point. Enduro Loop in Connecticut.
Yeah.
The mods are Flex Bars, Taco Moto, Get ECU. Nice Taco Moto reference there. Good
Yep.
job there, Alex. Q4, Dunlop rubbers, radiator guards, Seat Concept seat. They used to be a sponsor, right? Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm still good with them. Like I said, I'm hoping they'll come back.
I got Seat Concepts on my bikes.
Yeah, there's a Seat Concepts comfort seat right behind you that I used to hold up and show, but they probably paid for that. So we're good.
They're back ordered 4 months, so.
Yeah, I was loving my Seat Concept seat on my WR450 when I was doing these really steep trails the other day. It has ribs in it. It was just holding my ass on that seat when I was trying to climb.
Do you like those ribs? Do you like the ribs on the seats?
For extreme enduro stuff?
Yeah.
For stuff when I don't want to have to hang on as tight.
Yeah.
I want that to grip me. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But comfort wise,
Horrible.
marginal.
I can't for if because they make a seat that has some of those for touring, but it's like
They're comfort bumps.
Yeah. I don't know what they really like for long. If you're spending much time sitting, they get real uncomfortable.
Everybody has a different thing. I've seen people that lay those beads on top of their seats.
Yeah.
I've seen people that put fur, like these furry things.
Yeah.
So everybody's ass is a little bit different.
I actually cut those things off in the middle of the trip once, and just got a new seat when I got back. Oh, and of course, double take mirrors.
Double take mirrors,
Of course.
good.
Yep.
So yeah,
We love double take.
He's actually got the more stylish adventure ones as opposed to the round ones. Double take makes a couple different types. Hey, if you want a discount on double take, email me. I can probably hook you up. So there's the giveaway. That's how we're gonna get more viewers, by giving away. Same thing. I kind of want to go riding here. Like the trees just fell. It looks like a little bit wet. And right now we're in such a dust hell zone right here. Like wet. Everything that's wet makes me want to ride. It makes me wet when I see how wet it is. I'm gonna go Roost also. For a Honda 450L too.
Yeah,
Well, wait, you're gonna.
I got
You got an issue.
Well, I'm not the biggest fan of the 450L. Was that the first year that they?
I think
Did
so.
that?
Yeah, 19 sounds about right. Because we went to the intro during COVID. It was gnarly.
Yeah.
Like it was like the intro was like they tested us and it was just. I mean, I remember the flight was just a pain in the ass. Or it was right before it got. I don't remember. It was gnarly.
Yeah. Well, I could go either way on this one. I'll go ambivalent, but I like
ambivalent. No, the ambivalent is it's Roost or Endo.
Roost or
It's not
Endo.
Roost. Well, it was for a while. It's Roost, Endo, or for sale.
Oh yeah,
Because some people just their bike was for sale and they just clipped the ad and sent it to us.
the thing is, I like this. I like Alex. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
I like this. I like the fall leaves. I like the 2,000 miles of trails on the East Coast. I like the Taco Moto and the double take. You know what I'm
But
saying?
you don't like the Honda.
It's just not my favorite bike. But I got my business partner rides one. You know, like they're around. Like
Maybe
I
you
got
don't
friends
like
that have
him.
them. Who?
Your business partner.
No, he's the best.
Just
you
teasing.
kidding me? You kidding me? But I've ridden him, and I get back on my KTM, and I'm like, oh yeah, sweet.
Right.
This is where I belong.
That's
you know?
There's people have different opinions. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're gonna go.
I would either go light Endo or light Roost on that.
Oh, you
know
can
what I mean?
both. You can do both of those. So, but you have to pick one.
I have to pick one. All right, we'll do. I'm a nice guy, so we're gonna go light Roost.
Light Roost. Okay,
Yep.
sounds good.
Yep.
Next on the schedule.
Okay, Chris K has got a 2015 Yamaha WR250F modifications, GYTR computer retuner, Recluse Radius X3 auto clutch, FMF exhaust, Sycra handguards, G2 aluminum throttle tube, bi-LED headlight, seat concept seat, tubeless rear, tube front, golden tires front and rear.
Bi LED headlight. Is that a company or is that double?
I can't tell.
Bi LED. Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm gonna
yeah.
try to zoom in on it just a little bit to see. But yeah, keep
I don't know the
going.
answer to that. Golden tires front and rear, DID 520 VX3 X-ring chain, Ryko Enduro street legal kit, sick ass start stop switch, Tusk rear brake rotor, EBC pads, Pro Taper grips, Moose Racing rear tugger strap. Oh, that's the little handles, right? Small
Yeah.
handlebar bag. Doesn't say who makes the bag.
Yeah.
We got a bag maker on the show. Would spend cash on radiator guards. I'm a 47-year-old brand new rider and fall a lot so far. I've been lucky not to bash my radiators, hoping to come down and do a riding school next year. All right, that's a good closing.
Good.
Yep.
Definitely. I'm looking at the light. It looks kind of stock, but he said, what do you buy?
He must mean just
LED?
the bulb.
Maybe he put a bulb in it.
He must
yeah,
have put a bulb. Yep.
Yeah, understood.
I like. He's a brand new rider. He falls a lot.
Well, I don't know if you know, but Yamaha is big sponsor of the show.
Yeah.
Big. We like the Blue Crew. Hopefully, they're going to stick with us. You just never know. I mean, the rate we're going, we're going to have no sponsors by the end of this season. But we have to do everything possible to make. And he said new rider, and I really like new riders.
You're 47, brand new rider.
Yeah, it brings to the business. He's got a good bike. He could answer the question. Remember the guy who was like he was going to get the Honda. Like, look at this guy got a Yamaha. He's super stoked on it. Now he's looking for radiator guards, which means he's probably doing some gnarly riding soon.
He picked a good bike to start with.
I'm going with Roost.
I'll roost that.
Roost. Okay, you're roosting. You're right on par. You signed the contract about all the got to be nice to our sponsors and stuff.
Yeah,
It would have been nice if it would have said Mosko Moto handlebar bag.
Handlebar bag, yeah. It's probably not though. We just started doing handlebar bags recently, so it's probably someone else. But
Yeah.
we need to know.
I don't like where he's riding though. It looks too flat.
Chris.
It looks. You could probably go down in a canyon there someplace, and there's probably a canyon. Down
where's he
there.
located?
You
It doesn't.
And if somebody says where they're riding, we try to keep it a little bit out of there. I'm not big on sharing locations. But it looks like I bet you there's some fun terrain or in the back in the hills down there. So
Yeah,
all
where
good.
is that?
That's the other thing I can amazingly do is pick it out. That is Utah or northern Nevada. Like it's either up near near Reno.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe southeastern Oregon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There we go. There's kind of the same sort of, or someplace out in Utah. But who knows? He might chime in. You know what never hurts is when the person is in the chat. So if you're in the chat and it's one of your bikes, go ahead. Hey Pete says Speakeasy 2. When are we going to work with Tyson and Callie?
Oh, I would love to. Those guys are awesome. Yeah, we don't. There's nothing in the plans, but I still see them pop up on YouTube sometimes in those videos they did, and I love them. They did a great job. Yeah, I would be happy to work with those guys again for sure.
Cool. Next.
All right, this is Andy Duffus.
Got it.
2018. Cool picture. Got some rocky terrain there.
He's going gnarlier.
Yeah, he's having some fun for sure. 2018 XCW, sort of. After owning 250 and 300cc XCWs and XCs, I decided what I really wanted was a 250 XC motor and transmission in an XCW chassis. The bike I had at the time was a 2018 300 XCW with Creft RC suspension on both ends. It was February 21, and the world was still spinning slowly. I found a low hour 63, that he means 63 hours, 2018 250 XC on Marketplace a couple hours away, so I snapped it up. After riding it for about 10 hours, I was in love with the motor tranny. He was in love with the tranny. Combo, but not the chassis. I started making measurements on motor mounts and cases and looking at part numbers. Turns out the motors were a direct swap fit. The other parts that I swapped were the air boot and CDI. I sold the XC chassis with a 300 XCW motor in it and pocketed the extra $300.
Okay, he's the guy you got to watch out for sometimes on the thing. Did the current owner, Andy. Did the owner of the new bike know that he got a mismatched frame and engine? Just curious.
Yeah,
just curious. But go okay.
You're asking Andy, right?
Yeah, asking
maybe
Andy.
If he's in, maybe there is that him?
Andy, hey now.
Yeah, there he is. Andy, what's up, Andy? We got a question for you.
Yeah. How did that? Was the owner aware of the motor swap? Just curious, but keep going.
Okay, where were we on this here?
Pocketed
the extra $300.
Yeah, pocketed $300 out of the deal, but good on you.
Okay, now to the build list. I'll skip the iterations that led to the final build.
We might skip the whole thing.
Learning along the way was part of the fun. All this effort just to have a KTM change the new XCW to a transmission close to what I put together. Something about great minds. Okay.
Let's see.
Here's
I
the
think
list.
there's a whole second page of mods. You might get.
Oh shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I said when I saw it. But
How do you want me to handle this?
Let me look at it real quick and see if there's any. I'll bounce through this thing. Creft RC suspension. By the way, it is true that Creft closed their doors, which was interesting. Not really 100% sure why, but yeah, they were because they did some really good work. They had some neat stuff. But a couple of my friends in the suspension business were also curious. They were asking if I knew much about it, and I really don't. But let's see, triple clamps, like tall bars, Midwest Mountain brake levers. Either love them or hate them. It's funny. He says this: Midwest Mountain brake and clutch levers. You either love them or hate them. I love them. I hate them because they're really square and they're big. I like little tiny thin round levers. Yeah. And it's funny because they also change the leverage ratio. They make it more like a Brembo than a Magura. And I actually used to get along with the Maguras, even though they were heavy pulls. I could get the snap. I could get the snap I wanted and still control it. Where if you're kind of cantankerous with your lever movements, and you can handle the shape, those are good. Actually, they need to make a different shape. They need to keep their pivot actuation and make a different shape. They should hire me to test some shit. But what other things do we have on this bike? Lots of stuff on this particular bike. Bulletproof racing radiator guards and chain tab protectors. Those are mandatory, especially when you're riding stuff. DDC was out of stock on the sprocket he wanted. That happens because the DDCs are the best and everybody buys them. So you have to make sure. A Chirby seat, frame guards, and skid plate. Oh, you have that Chirby seat? How do you like that? Andy's replying. He's actually commenting back on all of our stuff. Yep, he did. Sad Creft is gone. No disc guards, front or rear. You can have a rear disc guard, just not a front one. Oh, look at this last line. He's a man after my heart. You want to read that, Pete? I just want to make you read that.
And no, I'm happy to read this.
Mosko Moto is going to read this out loud right now.
And always climb Mojave or Dakar riding gear along with an F5 helmet. The Coroid, I don't even know how to say that. Coroid helmet.
Coroid.
No, that's good. Before I started making gear, I had the Mojave and the Dakar. You wear the Dakar on the chilly days, and you wear the Mojave on the hot days.
Right.
They're the riding pants. Good pants. Yep. Good choices.
You're so nice. That's why you can't endo anybody, because you're just generally a very nice person.
Also, I like Climb. Climb makes good. They make good shit, man.
I'm glad we can agree on that, because they're the big sponsor of the show. I was figuring I'd have you on the show, and then tomorrow I get the call. Like, Jimmy, we're just going to have to... You've been with us for a long time, since day one, really.
No way they would do that. No way.
You don't think so?
No way.
Come on.
No way. We're friends with those guys, man. We said a lot of nice stuff about Climb.
I'm gonna call Lucas tomorrow and see if I can get canned. So, Andy, Andy. I don't know. You know, the problem is whatever you sold that bike for, I would probably be looking at it, and then I would have bought it. I might have bought that. I might have bought the bike that you put on thing. And I mean, Achirby's makes a lot of good stuff, and I actually like. You want to talk about ribs that are not comfortable? Mm-hmm. That seat has them. It's a plastic seat. It's literally and you can pump it up with air.
What?
Yeah, it's an inflatable seat.
Oh, I've never seen that or heard about that. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. You want to talk about a love or hate thing? That's it.
Yeah.
Like and European riders tend to stand up more. They have a more standing style, at least in the motocross and off road stuff. They don't sit down so much, but when they sit down, they want to be hooked up to their bike, and so it looks like a paddle tire for your ass. Which again, is that a clippable moment?
That's a clippable moment right there. A paddle tire. Anything that has the word paddle and ass in it is clippable.
Oh boy, they're hot take words. So I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about your business sense and stuff like that. You don't have fuel injection. I kind of poo-pooed. I gave somebody the benefit of the doubt on the fuel injection, but I have to do one Endo a show, and I unfortunately I think you're getting the Endo on this. I want to go riding. I want to drop off that ledge right there. That looks like Colorado to me. It looks kind of. It could be Washington, but the sun never comes out there because it's close to Canada.
That does look Washington-like or Idaho-like.
So,
yeah.
How do I inflate the seat? There's you know the thing you use to pump up your basketball? There's a hole in the back, and you pump it up with. You kind of don't want to have that much pressure in it. And he says personally he likes the seat. So everybody likes a paddle on the ass every once in a while. Is like what we like to say.
Andy, I'll give you a counterpoint to that. I like that you've stayed attentive to the show. We're hours into it. You made a whole bunch of comments.
Yeah.
Put in a whole bunch of details, a lot of thought into this. I'm giving you
You're gonna roost him?
I'll roost him. Yep. So that he doesn't. We don't want to end on a bad.
I'm
note.
gonna cut these ones out and put them up on the board. Actually, you can't even see it on the show anymore. The board used to be a real prominent thing. We used to bring it down. That's what that little tray is for. And we'd actually cut them out and stick them on there while we were talking. That was part of what the co-host job was. But oh boy. So now the job is to pick the winner of tonight's Rooster Endo segment. It's do you have one that do you have a favorite? I know it's definitely not the Honda.
Oh, it's definitely not. It's the guy with the chainsaw and the fishing rod and stuff like that, man. That's my guy right there for sure.
I'm right there with you, except
and 1,000 hours and 18,300 miles on a 300W.
Yeah, and then we have Chris K with the Yamaha. Okay, actually, I'm sorry, but I have to include Andy in this because he's still attentive in the chat.
Wait, but you endoed him.
Oh, it doesn't matter. You can win with an endo.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, no. That's just for the Rooster Endo is just us talk about. But like it's the one that gives me the most enjoyment. And so there's 3 reasons for enjoyment here for me personally. Number 1 is, and I'm leaning a little heavy on this. I'm just joking, but serious. Is a Yamaha Blue Crew new rider experiencing it out there having fun. He said he needs radiator guards. If this guy were in the chat right now, if Chris K were in the chat right now, and when he watches the show back, he'll be pissed that he's not. And he said, "I'll use that $100 at Takamoto to buy radiator guards." Full winner. I'd veto anything you said, but I don't see that happening right now. Chainsaw, trail clearing,
1,000 hours.
I love this guy.
Catching fish.
I want to go out and work with him. I'm not very good at fishing. I don't even eat fish, but I'm liking that. That's
good vibes, man.
That's me. That's what I like to do. You just get out and clear some trails and stuff like that. And then Andy for sticking it out.
Yeah, longevity.
So we've got to decide. So we're gonna kick Chris out because he didn't pop up in the chat. And who was this on this bike?
Was Dave. His name was David. I think wasn't that or David Fond? I think.
Was it? No, I think David was the. Was David Fond? We'll check out. I can click the picture real quick and see. Yeah, that's David. David's not there, but I do appreciate all his work. He doesn't need anything on that bike. That's the other thing. He doesn't need anything. But Andy is gonna buy some cool stuff for this bike, and then buy another bike, and then swap some parts around and sell it, and hopefully, they're both gonna sell their bike. But I think Andy's gonna make the most use of the money. Andy, you're the winner of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday's Rooster Endo segment on this very extended show. Thanks, Pete. So Andy, reach out to me. Send me back an email, and I'll get you hooked up with Mike at Taco Moto. Mike was wondering where this segment went. He thought I just started forgetting to do it. It's tacomoto.co, and if you're looking for parts and some really knowledgeable advice on anything, reach out to Taco Moto because they have the stuff. $100 doesn't go very far anymore, but it gets you started, and hopefully you can use that to, man, they have some pretty cool graphics kits too.
Dude, they're, Taco Moto, my 500 was built by Taco Moto. He built that bike up personally, Mike. I'm so stoked on that bike.
Right.
Yeah, like there's a great company, Taco Moto, man.
Yeah.
My bike is set up with their stuff.
It's funny because we kind of, like, I want to say fundamentally disagree in some of the ECU stuff because I know how sensitive, I'm just super sensitive riding and stuff, but he'll honestly, like, if you start drilling down on him, he'll quit selling you and start giving you information.
Yeah.
He'll realize that, oh, you're asking these questions. And the reason I met him is because he did this white sheet on a KTM 500 and everything on it made sense. And I could tell he was trying to sell something, but it didn't prevent him from telling the truth. And that's what we try to do here.
And he's just an awesome guy.
Yeah.
Great character. Makes good videos too.
Yeah, works hard at doing the stuff. So
big fan.
Anyways, yeah, big fan as well. So tacomoto.co. Andy, reach out to me on the emails. Sweet. He's not selling this one. Get a fuel injected bike, bro. Or a Yamaha. Either way. So, okay. Well, when are you going to Hong Kong? $100 gift cards coming. What? Victor? For Rooster Endo. Hong Kong? I don't know what that means. Hong Kong gift cards coming. I don't know. Well, we've done a good job. I'd like to thank all of our sponsors: Yamaha, Taco Moto, Scott Sports, Climb, DDC, Trail Tech, Fasst Company, Bulletproof Designs, and Double Take Mirrors. You can support Dirt Bike Test by clicking through on our links. We have an Amazon link if you're buying, giant TV sets, water beds, slip and slides, and other stuff. Those little things that you can use to hack into people's Wi-Fi networks. All the stuff that you buy on Amazon, we get a little slice of that, and we're really happy. Of course, we have a Rocky Mountain MC ATV link that you can click through. Keeps this show in business. Thank you, Pete Day.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I'm so bad with names, but Frank White for reminding me to reintroduce my guest every once in a while. I appreciate it, and I'm going to call you. I am going to call you, Frank. We'll get in touch and see how things are going. So, awesome times, and what we always say at the end of the show is we will see you out on the trail. So, cheers. And we're going to turn the mics off this time, too. See ya.
If you liked what you saw in this video, come check us out over at dirtbiketest.com on the webs. We have bike tests, product tests, a lot of fresh dirt, and you can even support us by clicking through our links. Hopefully, we'll see you out in the trail.